Nothing boys, you don't know what we want to do now. We are reading upstairs. We are at the first floor. We don't know what we are going to do in the second floor. This is the glory of always.
ITV, certainly the best.
ITV, certainly the best.
A pleasure to have you join us on the program Healthy Living. My name is Precious Fortune, and today on the program we'll be talking about something quite interesting. We'll be talking about the topic hypertension. Yes, that is something we popularly refer to as low blood pressure. Now, I find this topic quite interesting because a lot of people do not even know about it. You know, we're so focused on high blood pressure, we get to talk about it all the time, and we don't even remember that there's something called low blood pressure, and it's equally dangerous, if not even more dangerous. So today we'll get to find out more about it, the causes, the effect, Is it deadly? You know, and so much more on the program. So yes, I have a doctor here with me. Thankfully, he's going to, you know, give us more insight about this topic. I have Dr. Duke Udukru. Udukru. Good afternoon, doctor. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Very fine.
Okay. So, doctor, I'll let you in on a little secret. Before now, growing up, I used to be very scared of hospitals, pharmacies, injection. I think a lot of persons are as well. But it's funny that I'm all grown up right now and I'm still scared of hospitals. But here's the crazy thing. I've never been scared of doctors. You know, I have this special admiration for doctors. I feel like you guys are doing a lot. You know, you're like some superhumans.
Thank God.
Thank you for making our time to join us.
You're welcome.
All right, so let's delve right into it. Doctor, could you tell us what exactly low blood pressure is? You know, what is low blood pressure and at what point does it become a concern? When does it move from low to abnormally dangerous to, you know, require medical attention?
All right, thank you so much. Firstly, let me mention the name again, since you murdered my surname.
I'm so sorry about that.
The name is Dr. Duke Onoriode Udekru.
Udekru.
Yes, Senior Registrar, Department of Family Medicine, and the Public Relations Officer, Nigerian Medical Association, Edo State Branch. Your question is what low blood pressure is. Okay, I was told last week you guys discussed about high blood pressure or something like that.
Okay.
Yes, so yes, we have hypertension. I'll do more of explanation so everybody's carried along. We have hypertension, we have hypotension, which we're going to talk about today. And then in between, there's what we call normotension.
Okay.
Yes, in between there's what we call normotension. So the idea is for everyone to have normotension. If it's hypertension, it is dangerous. If it is hypotension, it is dangerous as well. Now, what is common actually is hypertension. And that is what we treat. Now, there are times the commonest cause, of course, one of the causes of hypertension itself is, of course, when we treat hypertension, you know, patients take drugs of hypertension. In the long run, they could have hypotension. The idea is for us to maintain normal blood pressure, which is the normotension. But before you know it, sometimes it happens that they now begin to have hypotension. So it means that's why most times as doctors, we like to titrate the medications we give, because there's no specific dose of these BP drugs that you are giving.
Okay.
So it depends on how much hypertension is affecting the patient. So you want to titrate. So there are times that patient could still go down to hypertensive level. So at those times, that's the reason why, okay, I find this topic interesting. Because ordinarily, hypertension is not, it comes from some causes, but it's not something that people carry along in their daily lives.
Okay, so doctor, are you saying that these medications you give to these people is what leads to hypertension?
It is not only the medication.
Okay.
Now, let me give an illustration. You are taking a medication. The medication is expected to maintain, to help the patient maintain a normal blood pressure.
Yeah.
But there are times, probably they take a higher dose, or they take too much of the medication. Probably the patient is patronizing this hospital, patronizing the other hospital, and the patient is taking all of them. Before you know it, instead of maintaining that normal blood pressure that we are targeting, low, it now starts going down. So at that point, of course, you want to hold on with those medications. The other causes have not defined the hypertension itself. Okay, go ahead. Of course, hypertension is when your blood pressure or someone's blood pressure is less than 90 degrees, I mean 90 milliliters of mercury systolic. That's the upper part. You know, there are two parts when looking at the reading. So if it's less than 90 milliliters of mercury systolic over less than 60 milliliters of mercury diastolic, that's what you now see this person has hypotension. Okay. Now, we also have to look at other indices, like a patient comes around and maybe patient tells you my blood pressure is 86/50. 54 or thereabout, and there is no symptom at all. The patient is just looking at you.
It's
The patient is not
normal.
feeling dizzy. It could just be normal for that patient.
Okay.
It could be normal. But if you have known the patient, normal blood pressure level before now, and then you are getting something at that level, you could be worried whether the patient is symptomatic or not.
Okay.
Now, I will still go back so that you understand this better. I'll still go to hypertension again. You talk about hypertension, is anything above 140 systolic and above 90 diastolic.
Okay, doctor, you talked about hypertension as 90
Over
and
60,
right?
yes, something,
so
anything
what's
below
the
that.
normal figure?
That's what I'm going to.
Okay.
So when hypertension is 90 over 60, that's below 90 over 60, then hypertension is above 140 over 90. Anything in between
Okay.
is what we call normotension.
Okay, that's a normal one.
Do you understand now?
Yeah.
And so that's the target we want
Okay.
for every patient or for every person.
All right, doctor.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so doctor, please tell us, who would you say is more prone to having low blood pressure? Does it happen to a particular gender, maybe a particular age range or something?
Okay. If you talk about age range, yes, I would say the elderly.
Okay.
Yes, the elderly are prone to hypertension of course, they are aged because of their physiological body system that is changing. And then, of course, some of these elderly, many of them already taking medication.
That could lead to it.
Yes,
Okay.
that could lead to it. And like I mentioned, you're taking medication from several hospitals.
We do that a lot in Nigeria.
So that's why most times when I see my patients, I like to tell them, are you on certain medication? Okay, I like to see the medications you're already on. So it doesn't appear as though you have one at home and not give you another one. You now add it to what you're already taking.
This also means that when we get medications, we should at least get to know the names. People don't do that. They
Exactly.
just go
Get to know the
hospitals.
names, tell your doctor. In short, me, I like to see the drugs you're already taking. I want to see the dose. I want to see everything. Are there other causes of, you're asking about the causes of hypertension, right?
Okay.
Okay, so other causes could be dehydration.
Okay.
How does dehydration come about? Could come about, it can come through, for instance, frequent stooling. From frequent, watery stool, let me put it that way. The patient that is losing so much of water through watery stool tends to have dehydration that could lead to hypertension. Even blood loss is another cause of hypertension.
Okay.
These are the common ones that you see around. Other ones, medication I've mentioned before, they could lead to hypertension.
Okay, we talked about people who are more prone to having it earlier.
Yes, I said
and you
elderly.
mentioned the elderly people.
Yes.
What I want to know is, what if someone is younger? Is it possible for someone, maybe a teenager, someone within 20, and all of that to have it?
Of course, like I mentioned, anybody can have blood loss.
Okay.
When anyone loses blood or has diarrhea,
Okay.
and there is dehydration, massive blood loss, of course that person is prone. His volume, we're talking about volume loss. Do you get? Once there is loss of volume in the body system, of course the pressure
Okay.
drops.
Okay.
So anybody can actually have it.
Have
The
it.
commonest is, of course, you see that commonly in adults, in elderly.
Elderly people. All right, doctor, tell us, what are the symptoms of low blood pressure? What would you see that would make you know that, oh, this could possibly be low blood pressure and there is need for you to go see a doctor?
Okay, the symptoms of low blood pressure could have dizziness, a very, very common symptom. One who has low blood pressure could be confused. And, dizziness, confusion, some other features include cold and clamming extremities.
Oh,
You touch the person's palm, it's so cold.
it's quite cold.
But that does not mean that when you touch anybody's palm in this very season, you just assume that the person is having hypertension.
Okay.
But you just see that the extremities are cold. You know that this person has hypertension. Of course, you also look at what is even causing it. If it's from blood loss, you look at other things, the features. The person's heart start beating very fast too.
Okay.
In short, if there's hypertension, sometimes we see this patient experiencing palpitation.
Okay.
because the
Doctor.
heart is trying to beat faster to meet the metabolic needs of the body. So the heart starts beating very fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, doctor, tell me, for someone who is feeling really dizzy, you know, you stand up and it's like you want to fall, you're feeling lightheaded.
Okay.
At that point, would you say that, or what exactly would you ask the person to do immediately? Because in Nigeria, we tend to run to get malt and milk. I don't know if that is a myth. A lot of people think malt and milk give blood and all that. So what would you advise somebody who stands up, the person is feeling all lightheaded and all of that to do immediately?
Yeah, of course, that's why we are doctors.
Okay.
For citizens generally, once they see things like this, it's malt and milk, because I understand.
I do that.
But for us as doctors,
yes,
you know, when you come to the hospital, oh, yeah, I have headache. I have to know why you're having the headache.
Okay.
Do you get? So I can target that cause of the root cause of the headache, what I'm going to treat. So I see someone who has dizziness, for instance. I won't just rush to malt and milk like you do. I will not run to malt and milk. I would want to know why this person is having this dizziness.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be this hypertension we're talking about. So I want to find out if it is the hypertension. Of course, before me is the vital signs of the patient. So if it is clear from the vitals that it is the cause, of course I will do what I need to do.
Okay, so you're saying if the person is at home and this starts, what should they do immediately? Should they rush to the hospital?
Yes, of course, rush to the hospital. Then if it's over the phone, you call me, I'm feeling dizzy. I'm also going to ask, have you eaten?
Okay, hunger.
Have you eaten? So if it's about food, I could say, okay, get something to eat. For a woman, is your menstrual flow, of course, I mentioned bleeding.
Yes.
The menstrual flow is very heavy. Have you been witnessing very heavy menstrual flow? You know, it could cause it. So I can tell the patient, please come around.
Okay.
So once I perceive that there is one serious cause of this dizziness, emergency, please come around.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, doctor. I'd like to know, is low blood pressure genetic? Because I think I watched something online one time where someone was talking about hypertension, and he said his mother was hypertensive, his grandmother was hypertensive, and then he as well became hypertensive. So is it the same for hypertension?
Well, not really.
Okay.
Not, however, you could just see some persons, like I mentioned, blood pressure of 90/60 below, we can say is a hypertension. That's the definition.
Okay.
But there are some persons, theirs could be persistently lower than 90/60. And in the family, that's how their own blood pressure is. So you could just regard that as being normal.
Normal.
Do you get? So you could say, well, to some extent, but I wouldn't say, but you see this a lot too.
Okay.
So from the books and for the definition, 90/60 below is hypertension.
Hypertension. Okay, doctor, let us know, are there different types of hypertension?
Well, there are.
Okay.
There are. It could be from volume loss.
Okay.
It could be from, you know, shock itself. Like from, those ones are very big stuff that, okay, someone has an accident now and has fracture. I mean, what do you call spinal injury? So it could lead to hypertension.
Okay.
Do you get? The blood pressure could drop. You know what I'm saying? So, but the common one we see, the volume loss and all that, you know, then, what will I say again? The drugs that we give, will I say type of hypertension?
There's a liter.
Yes. Because there are drugs you give that could dilate the blood vessels.
Okay.
So.
All right, viewers, we'll go on a very short break, and when we come back, we'll have our doctor here, you know, tell us more how we're going to prevent all of this. Now, I would suggest that you stay glued to your screen, because you never can tell when this kind of information would come in handy and all of that. So please stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you for rejoining us on the program, Healthy Living. Yes, we're still talking about hypertension, low blood pressure, and we've had our doctor here, tell us a lot about low blood pressure. So the very last question before we wrap things up, doctor, tell us, what advice would you give to someone having low blood pressure? Are there preventive measures? Are there natural remedies that one could do before coming to the hospital?
All right, thank you. For the elderly, who are most, like I mentioned, are very, very prone to hypertension, because there is what we also call orthostatic hypertension. For this elderly, if they are standing up from sitting or lying position, you should do it gradually.
Okay.
You don't just sit up, immediately, so you could fall. And then if one is already having it, like you feel you're feeling dizzy and all that, you quickly lie down before you fall down. Quickly lie down, or you could sit down so you don't fall. And then again, for women who see their period and periods are very heavy, for them it's good to take what we call hematinics if their period is so heavy. They take hematinics, see your doctor, and then you check your PCV. If it's low, we know what to do. Children, for instance, who are having diarrhea, mothers now, you also have to rehydrate them. As they are losing water, you are rehydrating. Even the elderly, you also rehydrate. Other cause, if there is blood loss, you give. You have to prevent it, injuries and all that. So these are some of the things you do. And then for the drugs they take, if you are taking your BP medication, and
okay, Doc, I might have to cut you short at this point because we need to round off. Thank you so much, Doc, and our viewers, thank you so much for staying with us up until this time. I hope you've learned a whole lot. I would say health is wealth, so you need to take care of your health regardless of anything. So we'll see you same time and of course next week. Thank you and bye for now.
ITV, certainly the best.
This is Anegbete community, situated in Isako Central Local Government Area of Edo State. It is an agrarian community with united people that promotes unity and oneness for peaceful coexistence. The inhabitants of the community migrated from Benin, the cradle of black civilization, a kingdom where king is truly king. The ancestors of Anegbete saw that age was the main determinant of leadership in the rural setting, and the eldest man in the settlement was regarded as the leader who presided over meetings, and his authority is held in high esteem. To further strengthen this unique system of leadership, age group evolved in Anegbete. In Anegbete, age group is categorized into two, that is the common and the noble. Anegbete is rich in cultural heritage, as the community at noon saw the commitment of the festival with the first set roll out in beauty colors to showcase their might and strength, indicating their feet and ready for the responsibilities behold on them. The streets in the community with a feed up of young men and women adorned with the festival. Later, the royal family takes the stage as their children fight out royally and work in the community to showcase their might and fitness.
My leader.
Omonomba Nedo Ukwakwalopolo Ewai II, Oba of Benin, performing during the 2025 Ododua Festival. Ododua Festival is unique as it was organized in honor of Ioba Omoni Hwoyeme, Ioba Ewai II, as part of activities for her burial rites. The rich traditions and cultural heritage of the Benin Kingdom were showcased when His Royal Majesty Ewai II engaged the floor to perform during Uge Ododua in the palace ground in Benin City. In the dance performance, the Ogbelaka royal drummers supplied the needed impetus and rhythm for the dance. However, tributes are paid by the head of Benin deities to the monarch, who was the cynosure at the event. The event can best be imagined as the spiritual rejuvenation, stunned, spectaculars and guests at the colorful ceremony. 7 masquerades representing 7 spirits and deities conveyed different meaning in company with the head of the deities of Benin, with the Oba of Benin who exhibited a grand cultural dexterity in his dance steps.
self-centered person. Just me and myself alone. Other interests are irrelevant.
Alhamdulillah. Alhaji, Professor Budamiyade, if you have anything to add, let's know. Looking at the position of greed in Islam, I've been told that greed has to do with self-centeredness and so on and so forth. Now, can you please tell us what Islam, the view of Islam on being greedy? Let's start with that.
The Islam as a comprehensive religion that regulates the lives of everyone that believes sincerely in the oneness of Almighty Allah, who claims Islam to be his religion, regulates the lives, everything that we do. So also is the issue of greed, which is an attribute that we see mostly in human beings, or let me say along with some other creatures. It's something that is condemnable, and Islam condemns it in totality. The issue of greed is not something that is that is tolerant, that we are tolerant to in Islam, because of the fact that it has to do with the way we define individuals. Whether someone is satisfied with what he has, or he does not show high level of satisfaction. And as just earlier defined, it's an attribute that has to do with acquisition of what is abnormal, particularly what does not belong to an individual. Islam condemns it.
Thank you very much. Islam condemns greed. In a particular tradition, Islam said that a generous person is close to Almighty Allah, is close to the people, is close to paradise, and is far from the hellfire. And conversely, a miser, a selfish person, is far away from Almighty Allah, is far from the people, is far from paradise, and is close to the hellfire. Mama Sunoli, can you please help us make sense out of this tradition?
Yeah,
because the miser really mean a greedy person too.
They could be used interchangeably, even when they could also stand independently of each other. But what the Prophet ﷺ was saying,
yes,
was the fact that the one who practices generosity, the Quran likens it to a tree. There's a paradise that had quite a number of branches, and that when it gets old, of the practitioner of charity, it holds that individual so firmly until it pulls the individual into paradise. Conversely, for the one who is greedy and who is niggardly, gets hold of a tree in hell, and that tree holds him so tightly until he is pulled into hellfire. Now, the issue of all of these will revolve around the absence, or so to speak, of the appreciation of the essence of one's being. One of the later caliph in Islamic history was desirous of knowing if there existed anyone who either had seen those who saw the prophet, may Allah be pleased with him, or those who saw those who saw the prophet. Then he got the intimation that there was a man who had become so old but lived far away from the city where they were of Baghdad. He sought to meet with the man. He asked that the man should be brought. He was brought in a stretcher. And the man narrated something that revolves around the whole issue of greed. It was a double-barrel story, which was that the Prophet ﷺ had said that for the one who is greedy, as he ages, the desire to continue to live grows stronger, and the longing for the things of the world equally is deepened. He was appreciated by the caliph, and when he was to leave, he loaded him with plenty of gifts. Those who brought him took him back. But somewhere while they were returning, he said to them there was a thing he needed to ask the caliph, and he alone was going to be in a position to provide an answer. These persons didn't find the courage of disrespecting him because they feared the consequence.
No.
If the caliph got to know that the man wanted to meet with him and they didn't bring him back, that would be a problem for them. So they took him regardless of the difficulties that was associated with that. And when he got there, he said, yes, I'm deeply appreciative of what you've given to me, except that we did not conclude whether I should be expectant of this at this same time every year. And so what the caliph said is that you have spoken the truth about the narration of the Prophet ﷺ which you gave to us. You are a living proof. You have given currency to that which you just told us. You gave life. You breathed life into those words that you spoke to us. I promise you, you don't even need to come. We will send those things to you every year. They had not gotten to half the distance they covered when he passed on.
No,
and so, for one who is greedy, you never get satiated. You want more, even when what you already have had not been of any use to you, no utilitarian value. But it's just that you get crazy, it becomes an addiction. You just want to have more without you even being in a position to explain why you are desirous of wanting to have more. And in wanting to have more, of course, you are pushing away others who should have benefited. Because what Islam requires of you is not just that you have, including what you eat. It says by moderation. Whether you have legitimately acquired food, you become greedy to the extent to which your neighbors go to sleep ululating on account of hunger, you didn't share with them. You become greedy to the extent to which you feel, because the Prophet said the tummy is the worst vessel to be filled. So he says, divide it into whatever. So it's not just that, well, it's my food, whatever I choose to do with it is nobody's business. It is somebody's business, because ultimately Allah will require you to give an account.
Thank you. Viewers, if you are just joining us, we are looking at the position of Islam on greed. Position of Islam on greed. A greedy person is even when he attends a party and they are serving, he may take 10 plates while the rest are not even been served. Doesn't care, doesn't give a damn. In another tradition, Prophet says that if the son of Adam is given a valley filled with gold, he will long for another. Just free of charge, you are just called now. This valley filled with gold is meant for you. Instead of being appreciative and saying, oh, I never expected this, thank God, you'll be wishing that, I wish it is 2. And if it was given 2, you wish it ought to be 4. If it was given 4, you wish, I wish it's 8. And if it's given 8, and so on and so forth, he's never satisfied. Greed. Professor William Aide, let's look at this tradition that one of us spoke about. First, let's say that tradition. As a man grows older, 2 of his desires continue to grow younger. The desire to live longer and the desire to acquire more wealth. Why is it like that?
Of course, it describes the real nature of human beings, particularly those that do not have control over their desire. Of course, in 2 passages of the Quran, Almighty Allah says that وَمَنْ يُقَصُّهَ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. Whoever is saved from his own greed, yes, such individual is of course among the successful ones, those that will be saved both in this world and in the hereafter. And then when you look at the nature of the society that we are, if you use our leaders or supposed leaders as example. The moment you see someone who happens to be a local government chairman, his aspiration will be to become the governor of the state or a member of the House of Assembly. The moment he leaves there, his aspiration will be to become either a member of National Assembly or the governor of the state. Even those that have been governor of those that have been members of National Assembly, their aspirations will be to become the governor of the state. You know, looking at all these positions, the entire strata of the positions, you can have someone who will spend 8 years on each of these positions. If you are chairman of local government, you are 8 years. House of Assembly member, 8 years. Governor of the state, 8 years. You become a member of National Assembly, 8 years. That's 32 years that you have spent. And the person, at the end of the day, will still aspire to want to become the president of the nation. This real example of greed. Such individual will probably see himself as the most qualified person to be in any of these positions. It could also happen in terms of the way we really acquire wealth. You see someone, and that's why sometimes we ask one another, how much do we feel we need? After which we will not request for money again. No. If you request for 2 million, you say, God, give me 2 million naira. After 2 million naira, I will not request for anything again. The moment you acquire the 2 million naira, the aspiration will be to double it and go beyond that. So we will be in this race till we enter the grave, except those that are able to curtail their own aspirations.
We will be in this grave until we enter our graves, except those who are able to curtail their own aspirations. It's referring directly to the Surah of the Quran, Surah Al-Takasur, where Allah says that Al-Hakum Takasur Atta Zuritum Waqad, that rivalry in worldly gains distract your attention until you visit your graves. Please take it up from there. And very, very importantly, as teachers, we have people who are referred to as pious men, as righteous men, pious bondsmen of Almighty Allah, who are referred to as ascetics, who have renounced the world. And the example of them was Muhammad himself, Isa alayhi salam, Jesus Christ, then some companions of Prophet like Abu Bakr, Umar, so on and so forth. Now, these people, you'll be surprised that when worldly things come to them, they are not interested. So how are they able to attain that? They are not interested. Look at Abu Bakr when he was the Khalifa, and they were paying him meager allowance as the Khalifa, as the president. He ordered that his allowance be cut down by the amount saved by the wife. And Umar frowned at the suggestion that they wanted to increase his allowance when they saw that he was not eating good bread. How are they able to attain that?
Yeah, the investment you make or sacrifice on a particular object is a fixation of the value that is placed on that object. So it naturally will be proportionate. If an individual, for example, tells you that my goal is the hereafter, the life after now, all the activities will be geared towards the fulfillment of that goal. And so you can tell where the individual truly belongs. Umar bin Khattab had visited the Prophet on a particular day and was troubled when the Prophet rose from the mat he was lying on, and the marks, the traces of the whatever were all over his body. And he said, the king of Persia, who is not worth a fraction of what you are in the sight of Allah, lives a life of opulence, is in clover. How come you live this necessitous life? And the Prophet was more worried for Umar, and asked the simple question, are you in doubt as to the faith you profess? And so for one who appreciate that the hereafter is the real honor, that the hereafter is the real goal, that individual does not bother itself. All that the world does for it is to play an ancillary role towards the realization of that ultimate goal, which is the hereafter. Yes, he would have to eat, he would have to drink, but you see, he does all of that in moderation, no desperation. It explains why there were days the Prophet Islam would go without food, and that would be a normal day for him. He was not bothered, because the fact of the matter is, whatever you have accumulated that you suffer the misfortune of not spending while you are alive will become a burden for you when those who come after you misuse them. If they misuse them, the burden goes to you. If they use it well, you have absolutely no benefit, because you are not the one who spent them. And so when you go on accumulating, it's just because you do not trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you trust in fleet-footing things. So if I build houses all over, I occupy a position of authority. So when I become old, I will subsist on all of the houses I have built. Within a twinkle of an eye, Allah could cause the movement of the earth, and all of those things you believe in will come crumbling. So if the individual has that belief, and it is to address the issue of greed that in one of the strong tradition of the Prophet ﷺ, Allah had said what you refer to as Hadith Qudusi. Allah had said to the Prophet, he said, "O you children of Adam, I have not asked you with regard to the worship of tomorrow." Because you can't even tell whether you will see tomorrow. So I have not asked you with regards to the worship of tomorrow. Therefore, do not ask me for the substance of tomorrow. And he says, for as long as the heavens remain and earth, Allah's sustenance would never expire.
Thank you very much.
So it is for you to trust in him.
Thank you very much. Allah's sustenance will never expire. Allah is not only the creator, the originator, the creator, and the sustainer. He originates creation and is able to sustain everything that he created. So I'm coming to you again. First Islam said in one tradition, beware of living in luxury and comfort. For the pious bondsmen of Almighty Allah, do not live in luxury and comfort. In one tradition, we are told that until some of us are buried and the sound of the grave enters his mouth, he will continue to be greedy. Position of Islam on greed.
Of course, just as we said earlier on, greed is something that is condemnable in Islam, that is not that cannot be tolerated. And as far as one is concerned as Muslims, we do not have any rights to say we want to express greed, because greed is an expression of bad traits in an individual. And the moment you have that in an individual, there is no way Almighty Allah will love such individual. There is no way fellow human beings will love such individual. And whatever we want to do, we cannot use, we should be able to use our attitude, our character, our dispositions to attract people into our religion. So therefore, greed is not an attribute of a good Muslim, and therefore it's not something that we can encourage in Islam. It's condemned and not tolerated by Almighty Allah.
Greed is condemned and Allah does not tolerate it. Ensure that you limit yourself to what you need and not what you want. Keep to moderation and not desperation. As we round off, last advice for viewers.
Yeah. What we need are clear. Let us not convert our wants into needs.
Thank you very much. Let us not convert our wants. So all those things you say you want, you don't really need them. important thing is strive for the hereafter. Whatever you give in charity remains for life, and whatever you keep to yourself as a greedy person is of no use to you when you get to the hereafter. Let us avoid greed. Let us be generous, so that the world can be a better place for us to live in. This is all we can do today. The time is not our friend. Thanks for coming. Al-Aji Professor Bunyamin Aide and Malam Eugene Asunoge. Viewers, I remain your uncle Al-Aji Alamin Alau. Let us avoid greed. Let us avoid greed, because greed is very destructive, not only in this world, in the hereafter. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
This masquerade is popularly known as Enugu Traditional Masquerade, originated from the core city in the southern eastern state of Nigeria. This masquerade is vibrant, featuring local performance during festival period. The masquerade acts as social order and connecting the people to ancestors. The Enugu traditional masquerade, when it performs, it brings communities together, promoting a sense of belonging and joy, particularly during festival and royal funerals. In Enugu community, the masquerade serves as a guardian of societal norms and moral authority, enforcing discipline and unity, especially their warrior-like nature exhibited by the masquerade during performance, engineering the town to electrification, as people tend to forget about their crime and social vices. The people of Enugu cherish the masquerade dance, especially during festive period like Christmas and New Year celebration. Enugu masquerade is associated with peace, unity, progress and love among the people of Enugu. The masquerade performance has helped to propagate the rich cultural heritage of the people to outside world.
Exactly. You are the better. Ibu. Why put out there also? I was there.
ITV, certainly the best.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
All right, beautiful people, it's another lovely episode of your favorite Men's Rendezvous on television, and it is none other than the Guys Hangout Show on independent television, broadcasting live from the City of Bronze. Yep, it is the city where the king is truly king. Now, for the first timers out there, the Guys Hangout Show is one show that encourages young people to prioritize their lives, put themselves first. You know, we live in a society where little or no attention is given to the needs of men. Why is that? Only God knows. But hey, if you don't put yourself first, who's going to put you first? So that's basically what this show exists for, okay? So we encourage young men, basically, you know, to prioritize themselves and prioritize their needs. It's only when they put themselves first and invest in themselves that they can have to give to others. Just like the adage says, you can't give what you don't have. My name is Harry Aigboje, and of course, it's my pleasure to have you join us on this beautiful episode of the show. Now, like you already know, I'm never alone. I've got some amazing gentlemen in the house with me, and together we're going to be taking a look at a very interesting topic that we have to discuss tonight. Now, to my far left is a very amazing person. He is a social analyst, and of course, he's also an educationist. He goes by the name of Ramsey Uwaila Abu. Good to have you, Ramsey.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harry. And as usual, it is always a pleasure to be on the show.
Indeed.
And as good advocates of good things in society, or as satirists, the Guys Hangout Show has been a platform for us to correct some of the ills in society and as well expose its vices in order for it not to be repeated by the younger generations.
Absolutely. I mean, who's in a better position to, you know, bring some of these issues to the fore than the natural leaders of society? Yeah. You know, there are lots of responsibilities on men's shoulders, so we really can't afford not to live up to those expectations, right? All right, it's good to have you in the house. Now, seated next to him is a friend and a colleague. Yeah, he took out time from his busy schedule to be with us today.
Of course.
Yes, of course, and he goes by the name of Michael. It's good to have you, Michael.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here again to, you know, showcase and show what the guys is all about, you know, to, anyway, this is a wonderful platform for us to actually discuss things that pertains boys, guys especially, you know, the good and the bad. We don't have to be biased. Understand. Thank you very much for the privilege.
Thank you so much for coming. Now, gentlemen, we have a very interesting topic before us. We're taking a look at emotional intelligence, right? The need for people to learn to control their emotion. Now, if you take a look at a lot of young people today, you will discover that there seems to be a lack of emotional control. For example, when someone is very happy, they tend to do something crazy. They tend to do things that, you know, they later begin to regret. And then when they're also very angry, they go to the extreme, right? Some of them do some very crazy things, only for them to start regretting it later. Now, you will agree with me that there is need for emotional control. Why do you think a lot of young people don't seem to have that ability to control themselves when they are at the apogee, when they are at the height of their emotional you know, expressions?
Okay, let me say lack of emotional discipline. It's almost becoming a widespread thing in our society. Not almost becoming, it is. It is a cankerworm that is eating deep into the fabric of the society. Lack of emotional discipline among the youth today can be tied to a number of factors.
Okay.
But before going to this number of factors, I want us to dwell on I want us to give a working definition of lack of emotional discipline. To be able to discipline yourself first is one of the greatest things you could ever do in life. No, it's very easy for you to tell the next person you are not doing this, you are supposed to do this. But how about yourself? How about you? So that is what many of our youth don't have. Now when these emotions come, yeah, we know that emotions sometimes tend to take us off our natural state, at that state where our senses are complete. But that notwithstanding, there is still need for us to take control of our emotions, because the resultant effects of our emotional actions most times are very detrimental. You know, people tend to take permanent decisions in temporary settings because they couldn't just suppress their emotions. And as youth, yeah, we all know that the youthful age comes with its own youthful exuberance. There, that curiosity, that need for exploration and all that tend to make our emotions flare up, and some of us, if we are not being controlled by our temporary emotions, instead of sitting down to say, what will be the resultant effects of this particular thing. But what are some of the factors that are responsible for this lack of emotional discipline? One, peer pressure. My friends do it, I will also want to do it. It's almost becoming a new normal now that if you are, let me use your language, if you are the type that is rugged in quotes, so they seem to see you as a macho man, that man that is taking control over, that tough guy. So instead they want to also do so that people will call them tough guy. No one is thinking about the consequences. And these consequences most time are very, very detrimental, either in the long run or in the short time. So I think youth need to sit down and take total control of their emotions. If they are able to take total control of their emotions, it will save them a whole lot. Religiously, in terms of a relationship and all that. We'll get to that in the course of this discussion.
Absolutely, we will definitely get to that. Now, Michael, there is a story in the Bible of a king, I think Herod, who asked his wife's daughter to entertain him and his guests. Now, the lady performed so well that he was super impressed. He was impressed to the point where he, gave her a blank check, asked her to, name her price or ask for anything. And then we all know how that story went. The lady asked for the head of John the Baptist, and the rest, they say, is history. Now, that was at the height of the man's excitement, right? And that's a case in point, as far as this discourse is concerned. The fact that some men, particularly, we're actually looking at this as it affects us men, because a lot of things go wrong when a man loses his emotion. We're not trying to give exceptions for other people or other classes of society, women and children, but men are supposed to be in charge, of course, right? They're supposed to be at the helm of affairs. And then imagine what happens when someone who's supposed to be at the helm of affairs loses control, like in the case of Herod. And we all, like I said, we all know how that story went.
Of course.
Why do you think some men lose it in the height of excitement?
All right. Sometimes we let our emotions get the better part of us. We need to do things that we're not supposed to do.
Okay.
Understand? So when a society whereby my colleague just said that this exuberance, cloud of memories, cloud of memories and everything, you get. So right now, when some persons are in a kind of state, it's better for you to calm down, all right? Better for you to calm down and think. We shouldn't.
Some will even recommend that you take a deep breath.
Of course, just take a deep breath. You understand? Sometimes if I can make should I say, salacious allusion, when some men are in this, what should I put it now? This ecstasy. They tend to make
rash decisions,
and because of that ecstasy, something that they can't actually do. So they just start making those promises because of the height, the peak, the apogee of that excitement in quotes. So I think people should, most of the time, they have to calm down when they're in situations, whether they are. See, we have some people that are belligerent. So when they're in a particular situation, they should try to keep calm. Just keep calm so that your emotions don't get the better part of you. Sometimes we got to do things that we later get to regret so much. In fact, you'll be like, am I the one that did this? I can't believe it. These some persons there in television, they'll ask them, so how do you feel? They'll not be melancholic, like, well, I feel bad. That's because they allowed,
so they allow their emotion to get
the better part of them. So if some persons actually bring themselves to a check, like this is how she respond in situation. For example, now, all right, some persons they're asking for donation. Some persons out of shyness or whatever, out of they want to impress, intimidation, they just begin to call. At the end of the day, now you're calling them, they're running away from.
Like we say in our local parlance, when their eye clear.
Of course, when their eye clear in the local parlance, you understand. So sometimes when they're in different situations, you try to be placid. Not so fall into regret.
Now, there's a particular story I stumbled upon on social media of a guy that was just thinking aloud, right? Some of these guys will just come on social media and say certain things, like share their experiences and all. So dude was talking about an experience he had with his, with a lady, right? He said that he used to, every time he comes on social media and sees people talking about PS5, that he remembers a certain experience he had with a lady, how that he used to play PS5 a lot, and then at some point, a certain girl he was dating at the time got fed up with the fact that he was getting too addicted to the game. And then she came, seized the PS5 and then soaked it in water. right? And that was how he lost his PS5. And ever since, every time he sees people talking about, hears people talking about PS5, that experience just, comes rushing back into his mind. Now, this, to a very large extent, has affected lots of relationships, right? We have people men who just tend to lose their emotion or lose their senses the moment they are angry, for example. Lots of cases of DV, domestic violence, are born out of this lack of emotional discipline. You're angry, someone offended you. Now, just like Michael just said, one of the measures that people usually recommend whenever someone is angry is that they take a walk, right? Take a walk away from the scene. But that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Now, that singular act by that lady was born out of a lack of emotional discipline. Now, how much damage do you think this could, do to society if it is not checked?
Definitely, it will increase the number of inmates we have in our prison. It will encourage more violence, as people will tend to learn from the wrong people. It will cause a lot of breakup. It will increase divorce. It will increase the rates of crime. When we're talking about emotions, it all starts from the mind. People should learn to put their mind in check. Well, before you act, definitely these things have been conceived on the mind. You tend to brood on it on the mind. You tend to ruminate on it on the mind. If you are able to keep those things, those negative things on your mind in check, it will not result to a national outburst.
You're saying it all begins with meditation.
Meditation, premeditation. You see, some of these things that people do out of, I call it emotional outburst. They've conceived it on their mind for some time. There are some persons that are short-tempered, but that notwithstanding, you still have to do with something of the mind. They ruminated on it on the mind before they will say, okay, let's take this action. So these things should be discouraged. If it is not discouraged, we'll have so many ladies who will later regret their actions in relationship. And going to the case you just cited, sir, concerning the young lady that decided to soak the PS5 of her boyfriend, immerse it in water and all that, that's because she couldn't just keep her emotions in check. Now, this is the same lady that will sit down later and say she will regret that thing she have done. That was not her intention. Her intention was just to get the attention of the man. But now that she have done it, the man is scared. If a lady could do this, next time she might decide to go for the TV or the refrigerator or any other appliances they have in the house.
So the guy seems to be living with the trauma now.
The guy seems to be living with the trauma, and the lady also live with the trauma. She's traumatized. There are some ladies that cannot, there are some people that cannot keep their emotions in check. And after the action, they always regret it. So the guy, the lady, the emotional outburst is not okay for any of them. So what we need to tell our youth out there is they should learn to always take responsibility for their action, and they should learn to always keep their emotions in check. They should learn to always guide their hearts. Not many things comes into the heart. It depends on how you ruminate on it before you give it out. The heart is like the processing unit. If you process it well and decide to say, okay, let this thing go, or I will report this to the authority, you do this yourself before in that thing. Not you trying to just get everything at this before you want to attack. No, at the end, those are right to become wrong. So I think people should learn to discuss some of the things they intend to do
with themselves
before bringing it out.
Okay, now, Michael, while he was talking, he made reference to the need for accountability, and that's a should I call it a currency that seems to be lacking in recent time, in modern day, because a lot of persons would rather push the blame to someone else, the blame for their actions to someone else, and the blame game continues. It seems like a cycle. It's a never-ending phenomenon. Someone does something wrong, and instead of owning up and saying, oh yeah, I did this and this is why I did it and I'm sorry, they keep looking for somebody else to push the blame to, and then the person you're pushing the blame to also wants to push it to somebody else. Where does this lead us?
All right, there is this cliche which Nigerians always use, is the devil's work.
Okay.
All right, it's not the devil's work, it's inbuilt, it's in you. You need to be cultured, you need to be disciplined. Sometimes you don't have to let it out. There are sometimes you just need to calm down. You just need to calm down, and that thing you want to, there's this thing that, should I call it the super ego, is pushing you to say it. You don't have, sometimes hold it down. You don't have to let it go, because when it goes out, it causes damage, You know, sometimes we need to be, not sometimes, all the time, we need to be disciplined. Like you rightfully said, see, these things they are inbuilt. If you want to, okay, let's assume we're you know, in a particular place right now, all right, and some things are happening. I think the mind is one of the fastest system in the body.
Processors.
Yeah, one of the fastest processors you get. So you need to process some of the things you want to see. Is it going to affect this person? Is it going to affect me later? What's going to be the come up pants for this thing if I let it go? So sometimes you just need to think, process everything, and before you see everything will be copacetic. You understand? So sometimes we just need to let things go.
Okay.
I myself now, some persons do complain about me some certain times. They'll say, why don't you get angry? Because I know what's going to happen if I get angry. I can't go to prison because of you. I can't spend the rest of my life because of you. So all I have this particular method. Either I keep quiet, or I start singing, or I leave. You get, so we just need to have...
Those are your personal measures.
Yeah, so I have this particular modus operandi. That's the way I operate it. So either I start singing, even if you reach you, but I don't care. You get, so for peace to reign, for peace to reign, I just need to be placid. Before you everything will be cool.
All right, guys, in case you just joining us, it's still the Guys Hangout show on Independent Television, and tonight we're taking a look at the need for emotional discipline. Now, emotional discipline seems to be lacking in our day because a lot of persons just allow themselves go when they are at the height of their emotional expression. There's absolutely nothing wrong in being yourself and expressing yourself, but it's very important that you learn to put a check on your emotion, else you do things that you will regret, either good or bad. Now, Ramsey, let's take a look at the attendance effect of these things, right? Now, while Michael was talking, he made reference to the fact that sometimes the effects of these things are long-term.
Yeah, they are.
And so, for example, the things you say cannot be taken back.
Words are like eggs, and when broken, you can't retrieve them. And that is why you must mind your words, you must mind your actions, you must not throw stones at every dog that backs at you. A man that is focused will not always want to attend to distractions. Some of these things these people do, they are distractions. If you are on the moving bicycle, then there is no need to stop. Have you seen anybody that is sleeping on a bicycle?
Of course not.
No, if you want to get to your destination, you keep moving. Now, definitely the people will get on your nerves. People will want to say things that will distract you. But like I always told my students, you don't throw stones at every dog that barks at you. That is a way of keeping your emotions intact. Now, you see the effects of emotional outburst. Most times they outweighs the benefit of it. So if you check some of the things that you will do when you get angry, then you keep your anger in check. And let's not forget, anger is just a letter different from danger. If a man is very hungry, it will lead the man to a dangerous place that the man did not even expect. So with that, I expect everyone these days to say, I won't get angry. Instead, I will report to the authority, or I will do this later. You must sit here and start looking at the resultant effects of what this thing will be. A wise man once told me, he said, we know how fight starts, but we don't know how it ends. So if you don't know how a fight is going to end, then don't start the fight. Don't start
the fight, okay.
So it's time for us to sit down and say, this is not the time we allow emotions to get over us. Rather, this is the time for us to keep our emotions in check. And most times you find out that you will be very happy later if you are able to keep your emotions in check. Because when you see the resultant effect of most things that will occur when you are not keeping your emotions in check, you find out that it's so detrimental. It outweighs the positive aspect of it. So I think it's always good for us to control our emotions and don't allow our emotions to control us. Like I said before, when you see people that are taking permanent decisions in temporary situations, you know that they are not able to keep their emotions in check.
Now, there's a school of thought that it's better to express yourself than to allow your emotions to accumulate. Because when you allow that to happen, it will get to a certain point where, there will be an explosion. And once that explosion takes place, a lot of things go wrong. Do you share that opinion?
Yeah. All right. The thing now is that I think it's a stupendous idea. See, share your opinions, but let it be packaged in a way that will not affect the next person.
Okay.
See, let's assume someone upsets me, and it's been bothering me, causing some of my things, everything. So I want to let the person know there'll be a way. I have to take the person away from the public or from that place, so that person will not feel embarrassed. and I'll take the person to a particular place and start first. See, you need to make the person feel calm first, compliment the person first, and then start making your own complaints.
Okay.
In that, using that modus operandi, it will make the person feel guilty, like, oh, I'm so sorry. But if you come in a bellicose manner, just
in a hostile manner.
Just be shouting and everything, it deteriorates everything. So there should be a particular way, like I said, the packaging. Just call the person to a particular place. At least the person should be reasonable enough to know, okay, for you to even bring this thing to my table, I think let us solve it. You get, if the person keeps talking and make everything worse, you can tell the person, okay, I've said what I have to say, and well, to God, I've already done my part and done my level best, and you take off. So you don't just develop a particular pattern that will not make things worse.
Okay.
Rather make things, ameliorate things.
Okay.
You get, so it's just be the way you think.
All right, Ramsey, what you just said borders on manner of approach. Do you share that thought?
Yes, another angle to this particular issue is that there are some things that are better left unsaid.
Unsaid, okay.
Maybe instead of saying it and before you know it creates rancor, states of agibagi, chaos and all that. But then, what you say and how you say it are two different things. You can decide to say something bad in a very good manner, in a way that the person you are talking to will not even know this thing is as bad as that. So if you must express yourself in order not to add fuel to fire, you must learn to put words in order. You know, when a child said, "Mommy, if you are my mother, you shouldn't have allowed Mama Nkechi to beat me like this. I never knew someone can beat me." The child is using words to manipulate his mother. Another person will say, "Okay, Mommy, this is what happened." Okay. So how you say it and what you are going to say matters a lot. But I think if you must express yourself, put all your skills and dexterity, your communicative skills to how you are going to put that message across. It will help settle the dust.
All right, thank you so much, Ramsey. Now, on the final note, because time is actually fast spent, what's your advice for people out there who always tend to think after they've acted? Right? There are people like that.
Of course.
Whereas the normal procedure is to think before acting. But there are people who only begin to think after they've done certain things. What's your advice for such people?
Yeah, some persons should develop this habit of packaging themselves to the extent that they don't have to regret their actions. Before you just blow off, think about what is this my outburst going to cost for me and for the person. What is going to be the end result? Okay. Just have to calm down sometimes. You see, the mind is very, very delicate. It can traumatize you. After you've hurt someone with your words, it can come back like a boomerang. It can boomerang, come back to you. You may never even sleep because of
what you've said.
You are thinking of.
So it's your conscience that's not helping you.
Yeah, of course. You just need to think like, okay, how will you feel somebody tells you this particular thing you're saying? Okay. So you just need to calm down.
All right.
Most of the time now, I believe you think like, this what I say to this person, let me edit it.
Okay.
Like I just send somebody a message.
Sometimes it's too late to even edit.
Of course, it's too late. You get so right. Sometimes I just throw my advice and be like, okay, I'm so sorry about that.
All right, thank you. Ramsey, you said something about, I know on the final note though, I know you already said something about discussing some of these things with yourself first. Yeah, so would that be your final word on this?
Yeah, everyone out there should learn to be in total control of their personality in all ramification.
Okay.
Don't throw stones at every dog that barks at you. Keep moving and be focused.
All right, gentlemen, I want to say a big thank you for taking our time to be with me on tonight's edition of the show. You guys made it a success, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I hope that the next time I call upon you, you will be able to oblige me.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Now, it's been the Guys Hangout Show on Independent Television, broadcasting live from the city of Bronx. And tonight, we've been talking about the need for emotional discipline. Now, it's very, very important that you learn to control yourself. There is absolutely nothing wrong in expressing yourself. It's why you're human, right? But it's also very important that you learn to put a check on yourself, just so you don't do things that you'll regret. Nobody wants to regret their actions. It's never a good thing, okay? So it's very important that you learn to put your emotions in check. My name is Harry Igboje, and until I come your way again, same time, same station next week, this is me saying, stay out of trouble and enjoy the rest of your night. Bye for now.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
ITV, certainly the best.
ITV, certainly the best.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
to know that it's that special time of the week once again. Well, it's Wednesday afternoon, and it's my pleasure to say welcome to yet another amazing episode of Flipside on Independent Television, reaching you live from the city of Benin. Now, for those that are just joining us for the first time, Flipside is a socio-cultural program that tends to pinpoint some topical issues in the society, and of course, try to examine them inside out, just so we can bring clarity to them. My name is Harry Aigboje, and of course, it's my pleasure to have you join me on this episode of the show. Now, today we're discussing something that has to do with young people, modern day youths, and misplaced priorities. Now, most of the time when you take a look at the youths of this age, you'd see, a demographic of creative and amazing people. Okay, you see people who have the ability to, be innovative, to come up with amazing ideas. And of course, just like they say, the youths are the leaders of tomorrow. But the reality seems to be saying otherwise, because it seems like there is a misplaced priority. It seems like the creative energy, the, amazing energy that the youths have is being channeled in the wrong direction. Nowadays, you see young people, instead of, being the creative people that they are, instead of being, leading by example, just like the adage says that they are the leaders of tomorrow, you see them doing things that are really not expected of young people. Well, that's exactly what we're going to be discussing today: modern day youths and misplaced priorities. And of course, to do this with me are, two youths, two young people who are, keen observers of the modern trends, and I'm sure they're going to be speaking from that perspective. To my far left is Williams Ejai, aka Williams Talks. He's like I said, he's a young person, he's a public affairs analyst, and he's passionate about young people as well. It's good to have you on the show, Williams.
Thank you, Harry, for having me. It's nice to be in the house today again.
And it's indeed nice to have you on the show. And of course, seated next to Williams is my brother and friend as well. He goes by the name of Ramsey Abu Waila. He is an educationist and of course a public affairs analyst as well.
So Harry, it's always a pleasure to be on the program, and I'm happy to be here again.
And I'm happy to have you. Yes, we're talking modern day youths and misplaced priorities. Now, how, or should I say, how do you define priorities? Let's begin from there. Let me begin with you, Ramsey. How would you describe or define priority? What's a priority to you?
Of course, the definition is, the word is polysemous in nature. It might have different definitions to different people. Your priority are those things that you see that stand out, things that you should attend to first before any other thing. Things you see as your core values in life. And these priorities are relative, of course. Yours might be different from mine, mine might be different from the other ones, but there are some that are set by the society conventionally, if you want to put it in an unwritten form. Okay. And these are the ones that I think we should be looking at. Those that have been set by society, by life itself, by humanity, and these are the ones that we think our children should key into and all that. Of course, they are good ones, and they will make a man an all-round developed being.
All right. Priorities set by society, Williams. First off, what's your own perspective to the term priority?
It's not far-fetched from what you just said. Okay. Priority is those things that are very important and paramount to you, that will advance your well-being, advance your being a man in the society, or advance whatsoever light you want to portray yourself, whatsoever image you want the public to see about you. So you prioritize it. You understand? So you prioritize it, and then you continue investing in it, conscious efforts to making sure that you attain that level. You understand? So then there again, what are the priorities set by the society? Yeah. As a young man, the society is okay. When you get to social age, you should consider to get married. Number one priority for a young man. And then for a lady, when you are of social age, you are not married, there's problem. You understand? So you should get married so you can attain that. But then, so too, you must be well to do. Is well prioritized that as a young man, you must be well to do. You must contribute to the society. You must be well behave. You must not find yourself in social vices that are contrary to the society norms. Those are priorities set by then too. On the other side of glamour, you must be driving expensive cars, You look sharp, look awfully closey.
Would you consider that a positive priority or a negative one?
Yes, they are positive priority,
Okay.
but in how you approach them or how you intend to getting them for yourself is that brings the other bad that makes it either positive or negative, or that is a wrong approach by the society.
All right, Ramsey, what are the most common misplaced priorities that you may have observed? Because you are an educationist and you work with young people.
Of course.
Right? I'm sure you've encountered a lot of young people and the kind of drive and, should I say, passion that they have for their set goals. So what would you say are the most common misplaced priorities you've observed?
What drives most young people now is how to make this money. They believe that if driving flashy cars, owning houses, going to clubbing, in fact, they are saying it until you have that, as you've attained that certain height where they believe you now have money to throw around, you are not a youth yet, or you are not a human being yet. They've forgotten the fact that you need to also work on yourself. They've left that idea of working on themselves, instead trying to please the society. Society now have a mantra, and it is go and make money or you get lost. So their priority is how to make money now. At that tender age, when they are still supposed to depend on their parents, they are already thinking of how to make millions and billions. Forgetting the fact that until you are psychologically prepared for some certain amount of money, if you receive them, you are going to misuse them. So they don't have this as one of their priorities. What they have is, let me just make this money. Let me drive cars like my friends. Let me build houses like my friends and all that.
Irrespective of the process.
Irrespective of the method in which they even get this money in the first place. If you get a certain amount of money that you don't have plans for, definitely the money will have plans for itself, and the plans are not always good. So these youths, these young minds feel that it is time they start. It's that time they started making money, and if they don't make money at this time, they believe that they are failing. When others are supposed to work on their life, they are working on their bank accounts. And when this money eventually comes, they become what I call interim rich man or acting big man, because they won't be able to sustain it because they were not prepared for it in the first place. So their priority now is how to make quick money, forgetting the fact that you have to build your foundation before you roof.
Okay.
So it is this money they want to get. Getting money is not bad in itself. I am not saying it is wrong to make money.
Because I was going to ask that. Is it inherently a bad thing to want to make money?
It is not at all. It is just that you must be psychologically, emotionally, and socially ripe for a certain amount of money. If not, the amount of money will control the person and not the other way around. So we are saying they should work on themselves. They should be prepared psychologically. And once they start making this money, they will make good use of it. That's what we're saying.
All right. Thank you very much. That was a brilliant one. Now, Williams, the most common ways in which the youths of nowadays seem to misplace priorities. Have you observed any?
You know, misplaced priorities in the first place, you know, the modern youth in the first place are people who seek gratifications. They seek social media validation. They want to feel in that top of the activity, top of the social, the rat matters, anything that is trending, they want to be on top. Then the issue, priorities, you are supposed to, at that stage, be developing yourself. Develop yourself, get your emotional stability, invest in education for yourself. So you know, when somebody says financial stability, is not saying that you must be all rich and wealthy. No, you must be stable to the extent that you can manage finance. That when you expose yourself to a certain amount of money, you'll be able to say that, okay, this money should be used for so, and then not for things that are not necessary.
Okay.
Not the things that want to puff your ego, that want to make you mad pressure.
That's akin to what he said about
mad pressure,
the ripeness, being ripe enough to handle the
on the system. So now then this is to misplace a priority. What we've seen in society, you see a young man of 16, for example, we once said that it is not bad to make money, but how you make the money, that is the issue. You say a young man of 16 probably got the money through an illegal means. Fine, it is yours until probably the law catches up on you. But then again, the money is with you. What do you do with it? You see them buying expensive cars. see them
some even going as far as, you know, renting
apartments,
renting lodging in hotels,
renting house that in 2-3 years or 2 years, even the next year, you'll not be able to renew. You leave your father's house, you want to go and feel, you want to be among, and those are the common misplaced priorities we see these days in our society. Now, first of all, when you are exposed to such things when you are not matured for, it's all tendency that you are going to misuse and misappropriate it. And 2, you are exposing yourself to a very dangerous situation that is going to tell on you, because now you are not emotionally sound yet, not financially stable, not matured, when you've not exposed yourself to a situation whereby when you get the 100,000, for example, you will know that, okay, this 100,000 will be put to use. Then that's the situation that you expose yourself to that is very dangerous. When the money finish or gets exhausted, you have already programmed yourself for a certain lifestyle.
And it's going to be hard for you to readjust.
To maintain, for you to readjust and start. So that is when they start misbehaving and start going to different means just to maintain different fetishism, whatever it is, just to maintain that lifestyle that you have exposed yourself to, that you're not ripe enough to control or to expose yourself at in the first place. So those are the things that we see in the society these days that are accumulating for the future. So now, if, for example, let's take do feasibility study or research. If you can go to police headquarters now, and they let them bring a sample of 10 boys who are under detention. Ask them. You discover that these people were involved in
one form of criminality
out of pressure to maintain. Out of pressure to maintain a certain lifestyle. Because you just want to be, you already exposed yourself, you have already presented yourself to be so persons, and then you have to maintain it. You know, for example, you will say when somebody tell a lie, you have to tell another lie to cover that lie. So you continue to tell more lies until it blows up. So what we are saying is this, that at a certain age, always know how to position your priorities. Yet it is good to make money. The money will come when you have already prepared the ground for the money to come. When you have already exposed yourself for the money to come. You know, there's a certain things you will do to yourself that you naturally money will come to you. You understand? When you have not done those things, you get the money. It will leave you, because just like Ramsey said, the money will leave you like interim big man or acting big man. So definitely the money will leave you because you've not actually prepared your ground for what you are exposing yourself to out of pressure.
In other words, the acting big man will eventually return to square one.
I'm going back to square one. I only God know how you will, because then you will turn to a very serious mental problem that you have already created for yourself.
All right, thank you very much, Williams. It's still Flip Side on Independent Television, in case you're just joining us, and we're discussing the modern day youth and misplaced priorities. Now, there's so many ways that young people of nowadays misplace their priorities. Okay, they tend to set certain goals for themselves that seem unrealistic, and the question is, to what end and for how long are they going to be able to sustain these goals? Well, these and many more questions we're going to be asking right after this break. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. It's still Flip Side on Independent Television, and I would like to ask this next question, and I would like to direct it to you, Ramsey. There is such a thing as the American dream, especially if you're familiar with, maybe if you have friends in the US, you will see that there's a certain standard that the American society sets for its young people, right? So the average young American wants to, be able to achieve a certain level of success. Okay, so success in America is defined in a certain way. You have to, maybe go through high school and, get a job, and then try to be relevant in one or two ways, right? And then try to be a problem solver as well. That way you can become, successful eventually. But do you think that's the same thing that defines success in Nigeria? Because is there such a thing as the Nigerian dream?
Of course not. In fact, America for Americans and Nigeria for Nigerians. The American dream is a child aspiring to become someone that will do things for the society, things that will live after them, positive things, their name wants to be written in gold. So that is what they see as success. They are going through school, they want to be a business tycoon or a scientist or someone that the Americans will always remember for life. But over here, success is you driving a flashy cars, you own a house, you're able to lodge an apartment, you carry different girls, you build this, you build that. That is what they define as success here. Forgetting the fact that success itself has a different aspects. You might be successful academically in terms of knowledge, in terms of wealth, in business, in education and all that. But our success here is a problem. What we define as success here is how well do you, using their language, pepper them with your new car, your new whip, how well you unhealthy competition. So they want to just want to make that money from all means. What is trending now is you see some of them at the riverside doing some fetish things just to get money. Young boys who are supposed to be under their parents' roof, thinking of how to make it in life or going to schools or building their life together, is ready at the riverside bathing with different chemicals and
they too are thinking of how to make it in life. That's their own way of
just how to make money and others. And the problem is, I think it's that time the government started going after them. Because they are teaching the younger generations that it is normal for you to go there, do whatever it is you want to do and make money. Kudos to the Anambra State governor on how he used some of those native daughters as an example. I think our success here is what we should sit down and redefine. Is making our students to see those that have not been able to make it at the age of 20 who are still schooling to be failures. That's why some of them go to school, they go with their laptop. So they don't go to classes anymore. They just want to come back from school with a car. You send a child to school and he's coming back with a car, you didn't bother to ask where they got the car from and all that. So that is what they have defined as success. But forgotten the fact that there are some things we do that live after us. How well will people call your name after this time? What have you created? Is it the wealth? What do you remember for? Is it the wealth that you created that the children you didn't train will come back and sell tomorrow and use it to smoke weed and all whatever it is they are doing? Or the various houses you built and nobody was able to sustain the legacy? There are some family in Benin today, you hear their name, you know that this is a family of scholars or a family of business tycoon or a family, names that you hear, you know that this is a real family. But there are some that we heard before in the past. These days we no longer hear those names because they didn't train children that was able to sustain their wealth.
Okay.
So the success over here, to me, is myopic. How they see success here is myopic. It's just something like, to me, it's temporary. You buy flashing cars, you have houses, it's okay. Why about your legacy? How about your children? How about those things that you remember for? So I think the success, what we define success in Nigeria now, is all about how to oppress your neighbor. It's different from the American dream, the success, the way it is defined in America.
All right. Thank you very much.
That's what we need to look into it.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm actually glad that you made mention of the government, okay, and the need for them to go after some of these people and clamp down on them. But, you know, William, some persons have also accused our leaders of, setting these standards, defining the Nigerian dream. For example, we all know, the lifestyle of most of our politicians, right?
Yes.
You know, one of the reasons for seeking political office is to, clinch power, and then of course to get a grip of their own share of the national cake. Now, don't you think that since the head is already faulty, that it's going to be a hard time, trying to fix it at the bottom?
Harry, as sad as this may be, but it's the truth. But let me tell you something. You can't stop a man who is office by the law permits him to move around with some certain amount of cars. You can't fault the man. You understand? The only issue we have with our politicians is that they embezzle our money. The number of cars are too much.
Okay, so
you can talk about that, but there's no way you
necessarily have a problem with them owning.
Yes, they must have. There must be a flashy car for them to be. You understand? It is attached to the office.
Okay.
So you can't, because of this. Okay, this politician is moving around with 5 cars, is blowing siren all over. Okay, let me too want to do and start. No.
Okay.
That is not the yardstick. That's not a yardstick. That's not the standard. The only thing I can fault the Nigerian politicians for
is abuse of office.
The abuse of office. The abuse of office. And the mismanagement of funds. Now, what's the coronation? Now, the funds that are supposed to be used to develop the society, create jobs, put in infrastructures and all those things, you embezzle it. You are putting the youth, you expose this youth to danger of the quick get rich quick syndrome.
Yeah.
It is norm. It is certain that when you graduate from the university, there should be a job waiting for you, no matter how wide
in an ideal
society, no matter how wide the population, or no matter how wide it may be or it looks like, but it's not there. So we have yesterday, think up till now, they are still writing JAMB. I was driving around some part of the city, and I will see the heavy amount of numbers of young Nigerians who are arts. And I was say, there are so much people in our educational system, so much people in this institution. More are still going and more are coming out. What is the preparation of the government for this population, this
teeming population?
This teeming population. So there is a pressure mounting on the society for high demand to survive. A high demand to survive. You won't blame those who have gone through the 4 walls of the universities. You will not blame them when they start seeing that they will need a job, because now we have already created that mentality that the moment you graduate from school, you should go and look for a job. His job should be there for you. And it's not the right mentality. It's a very wrong mentality. Fine, it's good you guys will get a job. But I got to understand this when I was in a 200 level second semester. You know, I'm a very critical somebody, I think. Critical analyst. So there was a certain day I was discussing with before the first administration of the president. What's his name again? Jonathan. Jonathan. So we were discussing with my friend. I was analyzing a political permutation, and I said, "See, this I've come to discover that there will not be job for many years to come in this country. So let us just start studying to develop our brains. So you were study to know."
You were literally speaking prophetically.
Yes, study to know what you are studying. Like, let me be read. I want to read and understand politics for myself. Absorb it, not because I'm looking for a job, or was I graduate and look for a job. Because if you have program your mind in that form, you will graduate from school, there's no job, you will expose yourself to some certain pressure. And then that might also mount you to start looking for the quickest way to get rich. You know, and then along the line you must have missed the priority. First of all, the priority is to make sure that you must put yourself in a very balanced situation whereby you are not shaking, no pressure, nothing, but you are working steadily, constant progress to make sure that you achieve your goal that you've set. So I just asked, okay, let me just need to know. So when I get there, I can start putting 1 or 2, because I can't waste 3 or 4 years of my life running around the street looking for a job. So let me study, and then when I get to, okay, I can start I play politics, do things based on, I study politics and public administration. Okay, I can play politics, but I have to go and put 1 or 2 things to survive and start doing business and start doing what is to make sure that I don't find myself in already established pressure. The already established pressure for the youth. So when these things, critical things are fixed, you've already solved our problem. That's why I fought them. But whatever is attached to their office is not my business. It's
their right.
It's their right. If you want to scrap that, then you need to go and amend this constitution. Not just amend for this to amend the constitution. They can't just sit there and then allow those rights to live. They'll be there. They've amended the constitution donkey times. You hear 19 now as amended, but they will not go there and say, okay, you 20 cars, let's reduce it to 5 or 4. No.
But don't you think that would make don't you think that would go a long way too?
It will make sense, but you can't take away the fact that somebody they can still buy a car of 200 million. You can't take away that fact.
Well, let's hope that we actually do get to that point where we are able to cut down on the the cost of governance, because these are the things that actually constitute the cost of governance. But let me come to you, Ramsey. How does social media determine what young people consider important?
Of course, they are living their life for social media. Many of them now have, I told you before that we have 2 words. One is our universe,
the real world, and the
other one is the metaverse. So some of them, they might have the house is close to you, but their real house is on social media. In fact, the social media it contains both trash and treasure. But what influences most of our youth is the trash. Why did I say so? They live a life of validation. They want to be validated by those on social media. We call it social media in-laws, brothers and sisters. They have their biological brother, but they have another one on social media. So whatever they do now, they do it in order to please those that watch them to impress them that watch them on social media and all that. And that is why there is anything they can do to grow their page, they will want to do it. They just believe they have to gather these people they call fans on social media and work in accordance with what is expected of them by those on social media. Our problem now is, how do we tell our youth to use the social media well? That's the problem. You can't. Many of them, they might be something else before their parents. Immediately their parents go to their rooms and all that, they go on social media. So the social media it has influenced them negatively, though there are some positive side of the social media, but the ones they always take is the negative one. And you see them always doing things that will please their fans on social media. So they go extra mile. Some of them even watch. Do you know many things they do on social media? You can be in the classroom as a teacher, you see a student, he's just in his own world. He's on social media even while a teacher is before you teaching. The result we've seen so far in JAM is a testimony to the fact that the students are no longer studying. In fact,
don't you think the teachers also have a portion of the blame?
Of course, it's a societal dysfunction. The problem starts is hydra-headed.
You blame somebody that is not ready to.
The problem could be attributed to government, to parents, to teachers, to the system. It is at times when I look at this problem, I say this thing is insurmountable. I don't know if there's any way we are going to solve this problem. Do you know the governments don't even value their teachers in the first place? And the government that don't value teachers in the first place, how do you expect our teachers to give us our best? And the students over here are learning from social media. You teach them one thing, they learn another one from social media. They see result. No, this time we didn't see result flying around social media. 300 and above and all that.
All right.
Everywhere is mute.
Anyways, hold that thought, Ramsey, because you're actually taking us on a journey. We have to go on this very important break, and when we return, Flip Side continues. Please stay tuned. All right, it's great to have you back. Now, before we went on that break, Ramsey, you were examining the influence of social media on priorities of young people.
Yes, I said it has so affected our education that children no longer read. It has influenced their behavioral patterns. Many of them, they go to social media to watch pornography and all that. Things that we can't even see on air. We have a first-hand experience of these things because we work with children. I'm a teacher. Now you see some of them, what they see on social media is what they actually want to replicate, not what you are teaching them. So immediately the results started coming, this JAM. I said I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because they are no longer reading. Some of them will even tell you, there is no need to read, sir. Those of them that read, where are they now? Okay, sir, you have 2 degrees, you have master's degree and all that. What is happening? Yes, now what is happening? Yeah, those of them that are very close to you. And I told them the idea of a university is not to become employable. It is to build you as a man all around, that to be able to connect, produce, talk, bring sanity to the society. Aren't we seated here now discussing about things that have to do with our society? Because we are educated. So young man, for the fact that you went to school does not mean you must become very rich financially in terms of wealth.
That's a misplaced priority, because you see nowadays, to the average Nigerian youth, the end justifies the means.
They just believe that when you go to school, you should have money.
Yeah.
You should have finance. That monetary wealth is what is. But they forget about that. Life itself is in various aspects. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. The ability to conform to the norm of the society without constituting nuisance and law is because you are educated.
Civil.
You are civil. So these things are some of the things they should learn. Not you going to school to become a multi-millionaire. You went to school not to fight against poverty per se, but to fight against illiteracy. And in literacy, there is wealth.
Yeah.
So until you start telling them that you went to school to become a well-developed citizen of this country, Of course, you don't expect those that didn't go to school at all to start ruling us. Then we are saying our politicians are bad, our leaders are not doing well and all that. So some of them are educated. But what took them there is still the education. So my father was a follower to a particular politician. And I don't want to become a follower, I want to be a leader myself. So I must go to the mainstream. I must start doing something. I must interact. I must go to school. I must understand. You cannot subject an educated person to penury, to oppression and all that. You can't oppress them because they're educated. What will liberate a man who does not have money? His education. That was how Mandela was able to liberate his country, South Africa, because he was educated. So let's tell these children that you are educated to become someone important and good in society, and not a rich man per se. After all, someone that did go to school can make money.
Sure.
Someone that did go to the university at all can become a rich man.
Yes, can go.
So you didn't go to necessarily take education.
Take education. You didn't go to university to just make financial wealth. You went there to have an all-round development. And that is what we should inculcate in this younger generation.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much, Ramsey. Now, Williams, what role do you think family values play in, shaping priorities amongst young people?
I was trying to delve in. I will come to that. You say life is in phases, men are in sizes. You don't jump the phase of life, and when you jump the phase of life, you miss the size. Understand? You can't compare yourself with a man who has covered all phases of his life, and then you want to jump and you want to be like him. No, you put yourself in unnecessary pressure, and that will lead to destruction. You understand? So you see, I've been pushing and clamoring for this social media check. I'm not saying regulate meet our freedom, but the amount of content that goes on in social media
and the nature of content,
that goes on in social media is a problem. Now, fine, they've monetized everything, and so everybody wants to make the money. Yeah, it is good. It's another source of making income, but they need to regulate what's. Some people are constantly creating content just to match pressure on the youth. Those kind of content there. Some people are portraying this issue of courtesan that they are. Some people are sponsoring the issue of using arms and all that. You just go on all this on all socials and see how the issue is spread. And when you see some certain content, you want to wonder what kind of content are this. What do you preach? What are you preaching to the society? So first of all, they will need to regulate such content. You understand? When you regulate such content, and then you have reduced the pressure to a very now imagine somebody coming and say, if you are not driving JK, you'll not be man or you'll not be boy. If for social age you never do this one, you never see life. And the lady will come to you, if you have not dated specific guys, you are not a girl.
Or if your man cannot provide,
if your man cannot do you on salary of 1 million, you are not dating a man. And there's a young lady of 12 years old watching you, and who is not even ready to start making that as a priority. So until we start figuring out these issues, the society, there will be constant pressure being mounted on the society, and it is 95% coming from social media.
All right, so now to the question of...
The question now also boils down, I'm going to, because now, first of all, parental issues is you need to regulate it too. I'm saying to the parents now.
And that's the role of the parents.
That's the role of the parents. It is there. I portrayed it to you. It is there. But if you don't want your kids, you don't want your children, your words to be part of such everything, you know how to regulate them. Fine, you can't stop them not to watch. They will definitely, you will not be with them 24/7. But you tell them that whatever you see on social media, it is not the real situation. What am I talking about? People tell you that men, there are grown-up ladies, grown-up men who are also affected by social media. And I have to tell you that, do you know this thing you are seeing, it is not 100%, this thing is totally wrong, but in reality it's not. And then compared to somebody that's of 12 years old, 13 years, that the brain is still very, anything can go. If it can affect an adult, if you can match pressure on an adult, so what about those lads? What about those vulnerables? So parents must constantly reminded that whatever you see on social media in reality is not true. If there's anything that is true in reality that is on social media, it's not up to 5%. Let them know that. And then if they must take or assimilate anything, they must present it to you for you to give final say. Now, to the extent that two grown-up adults, celebrities, they do all this Lagos House 5 and all that. They were arguing on a topic. And the lady was saying, if this person, she came to apologize because she needed me to apologize. There was sign of, and the person that was replaying this to me, like, what am I trying to say? That okay, somebody must apologize first before you apologize. You will not force me to apologize. I will apologize on my own way. No, you must take responsibility for your actions. I told the person straight that this is a very wrong narrative. If what you know, you did what is wrong, and the person gives someone that courage to come and apologize, you immediately apologize to the person. So we must take conscious approach to making our children know that this is the way you should go as a young man, as a young lady. You must pass these words, you must pass this phase. You must not skip any. Immediately you skip any, you get the consequences at the next stage. And mind you don't want to learn from your own personal experience, because you may not even survive. But you should learn from experiences, from the mistakes of others.
All right.
It's no fine. It's not our fault for that. They should be. But if you can't keep yours, other people will learn from you. It's as simple as that.
If you can't keep yours, others will learn from you. So it's better you learn from that of others. Now, I would like to ask you, Ramsey.
Okay.
Do you think that influencers and role models are, promoting the right values today?
Mr. Harry, there are some of them I call British. There are some
that sounds like celebrities.
Yeah, it's a coinage. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Because they are actually not promoting anything in the society, anything good. Now you see, a society in itself it has rules, and these rules are conventional. They are unwritten, like I said before. Yeah. We must do things that will teach the younger generations to conform to the norms of the society. As a content creator, or you call yourself an influencer, you are not doing anything that can affect the society positively, then it's not good, even if you are making money from it. The problem now is they just want to do anything that will make them make money.
Anything goes.
Even if it affects the younger generation. How can you say this is your content, and you know your content promotes vices in society, and you keep doing it? How? Because we are in a country where they don't regulate social media. Although if we say regulate social media, the government will use it to their own advantage, and that's why we are not projecting
that's actually where the controversy lies, because a lot of persons are saying, okay, if the government steps in and decides to,
it is their own advantage. Now it will not become something that will start saying, no, don't regulate again. Because we have a government that even lacks sincerity of purpose.
Exactly.
He was talking about parents. Only few fathers and mothers parent these days. The house is just to hypocrite.
Well, some have said that even some of the parents need parenting themselves.
In fact, Omomo no they carry Omomo. In quotes. Many of them are very young. They are still very young to the extent that they are not supposed to be fathers yet. So when they become fathers and mothers, they are just fathers and mothers. They are not parents. How can a parent give money to the child for malpractice? Whatever you like, you call it logistics and all that. My child spent 6 years in secondary school from JSS1 to SS3. At SS3, I am paying for the school to help this child in WAEC and NECO.
For what purpose? On what ground?
What has this child been doing in school? What is this? But in fact, the problem is not even the children. Let's start from the parents, because we now have parent children. Let me use that term. Parents who are supposed to be parents.
In Lagos, they say children they are not trained well. Don't come.
So they are not parents. So what do you expect?
And that creates a vicious cycle.
Do you know they will stand before their parents to say money for malpractice, and you bring out the money? Must everybody go to school? Must everybody really go to this school? And that's why we have private universities, we have schools everywhere, because they just know that people will come. But how many of them really know that education is beyond, at the end, I'm going to make money? Where is that development? Where is that knowledge? Have you opened this child's brain to think for his or herself? That's the issue. So the problem we have in society today, if we don't take that, we swallow everybody, including the parents, because they are no longer parenting. They follow their children to the exam center where malpractice will be carried out. A parent called me to say, I hope in your center they will help my child. I was like, how, man? That is what I'm teaching them. If I don't teach them, then you can say you can force me to say I didn't do my job. I haven't taught them. I am waiting for their result also. Because once my students fail, I failed.
To play theirs.
If they pass, I pass. But allow them to write their exam themselves. But they prefer to just send that child to the university at the age of 16, 15. They are already in school. What will a 16-year-old be doing in the university? A university is a place for adults. You ought to have been 18 To be able to leave the house, think for yourself, fend for yourself, at least stay alone before you can even go to the university. But go to university, some of them as low as 14, they are there 15, 16. So what is happening? Why are we forcing the government when even the citizens themselves have some the share of problems?
Well, I guess that's because the government has a lion's share, or the bulk of the decision-making power rests on the desk of the government.
But they said
if they won't do anything that will jeopardize their own enjoyment.
They fix the age for ATM. Say fix at 18 currently. They fix it at 18.
So I guess that's the government trying
trying
to regulate. But in reality, some of them are not up to 18.
Well, let's hope that this new policy actually...
No, you can't tell me that the system is programmed. They will ask you how old, when will you give birth to. Somebody that's imputing a certain age, even if the person wants to forge, you must upload documents that is written there.
One good thing about this
country, understand me? So no matter how the person, you can't escape, not be screened.
One good thing about this country, we have all the policies, we have all the good laws,
but we do not have the willpower to implement
how to enforce it, execute it. Let's go to lecture houses. Let's see those that just finished writing their
All right, just before we go to lecture houses, it's still Flipside on Independent Television, and this is our final break on the show. Please stay tuned.
ITV.
ITV, certainly the best.
Yeah, welcome back. Now, still talking about exposure at a young age.
Okay.
Exposure or access to technological gadgets, is it a gift or a curse?
Both.
Both.
All right. It's both a gift and a cross to carry. The reason why I said both, because there are some positive impacts of technology, no doubt, including the social media. But you see, people tend to quickly tint towards the negative things and the positive things, and that is why our young minds are tinting towards the negative ones. But what we are here to quickly let them know is that things are in phases, as my brother here rightly said. If you jump any of the step that you're supposed to take, you will fall back. That's why you see some of them, they use in their terms, hold taker, new taker. What now happened to hold taker? Old taker is now looking for something that will sustain
so him. The old takers are the has-beens.
The old takers are those are So now the old taker now is now looking up to the new taker. So please give him food, because their wealth was not sustainable. You know,
and if there are some certain amount of money,
there are some certain amount of money that will get to you as a young boy. If you are not prepared for it, sir, you won't be able to use it well. If someone walk up to you now and say, Mr. Harry, and if 6 million hits your account, what will you use it for? You say, don't worry, I already have plans for it. This one. So you are prepared for it. Now, if you ask a boy who is still in secondary school and the boy just received 10 million naira, of course, the first thing will come to his brain is boutique first, then girls, clubbing, and all that. We are not saying money is not a priority, that it is wrong. We are saying there is every need for those young minds to build themselves psychologically, socially, emotionally first before this money start hitting their accounts.
So as to be able to handle it.
So as to be able to handle it well when it comes.
All right.
And for parents that are saying, for a young girl, a parent, you're asking a young girl, what did you bring for me? She went out, you're asking her, what did you buy for me? Where is the turkey? Where is the chicken?
Encouraging them
to just go and make money whichever way she wants to make money. Until my daughter gets married and leaves my house, she is still my responsibility. The idea of parents waiting for children to not take them out of poverty, it's wrong. You are asking them to go and do things they are not supposed to do. So if you are a parent, parent well. And if you don't, it will affect the children.
All right. I'll take that to be your parting word, because we're actually pressed for time right now. Now, let me ask you, Williams, what do you think, or in what ways do you think young people can reset their priorities in order to be able to, live up to the expectations, the positive expectations of society?
Already messed up society, reality. But the advice is this, for you to understand that no matter what you are going to become in this life, no matter what you are going to attain, you cannot just get there at an instance.
The twinkle of an eye.
You must follow the due process. Okay. Following the due process, if it warrants you to be in the 4 walls of university, there's no problem. Be there. If it warrants you to take up an apprentice job, fix yourself somewhere, and that reminds me. You go around this for we call the handiwork, the artisans.
Yeah.
Go around, they barely see boys working with their
they don't have
guys.
again.
They don't have. So if that warrants you, whatever it is you want to fix yourself before you chase the forwards, then chase that, attain it. Then when you set up yourself, the forwards is always there. It is not moving anytime soon. It will always be there. So when you think that, okay, this time you will definitely fall back to the forwards. Then you must go and refresh. Then brush your brain, get that experience, empower yourself academically. Then you'll be very, very well positioned to attain any height, any sort of work you want to, because you've already programmed and build yourself for it. You know, you didn't go to the forwards of university. You didn't study, you didn't do anything. They can present a document in your front. You don't even know what is there. You just give consent to and then in 2 days time, you discover that you have already sold out your future. So when you read, you do everything possible. When your opportunity comes, you know how to scrutinize and say, okay, I'm not going for this, I'm going for this, and then you prepare everything, pad everything up, and then you give your consent to it, and then your life is all blossom.
All right, thank you very much. That was a very brilliant one. Now, I know I already told you that was supposed to be your parting word, but in less than a minute, what would be your advice for young people out there who are under pressure to cut corners?
Develop yourself, attract money. If you don't develop yourself and the money keeps coming, you waste them. You waste them. Once you develop yourself, you attract money, then you put them to good use. We should tell our children to develop themselves. Parents, encourage them to acquire training, to go to school. It doesn't stop them from making money in the future. If they don't go to school and they make millions now, very soon they will become paupers and start begging again. Some will say, what if I buy 15 houses? Of course, they start selling each of them one after the other because there was nothing to sustain that wealth. So the idea gotten from the university is that you must make money. No, it is that you must develop yourself first, then you attract money.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen, for your brilliant analysis. It's been such an amazing show, and I have you both to thank for it. Well, we've actually been, examining misplaced priorities amongst young people, and I'm very sure that the young people out there who mean well for themselves and for the society have been taking notes. Once again, I want to say a big thank you. All right, and of course, I hope that the next time I call on you, you will oblige me.
Of course.
All right, it's been Flipside on Independent Television, and we've been taking a look at modern day youths and misplaced priorities. Well, the youths indeed are the leaders of tomorrow. As a youth, you owe yourself and your generation the power of focus. It's very important that you focus and make the best of your life, because you are all you've got. At the end of the day, if you miss it, you're going to have yourself to blame. So that's why it's very important that you begin to develop yourself now. That's the only way to make it. There is no shortcut to success. If anybody tells you that you're going to succeed even if you don't work hard, that person is just setting you up for the biggest disaster of your life. So there is a process to pass through. Do the needful, develop yourself, go to school if you have to, learn a skill, and begin to align yourself with all the right principles to success. And I can assure you that it's only a matter of time before you begin to live the Nigerian dream. Okay, and I'm hoping that the Nigerian dream is not what it is now. I'm hoping that it eventually becomes the kind of things that we hope that our children will achieve. Well, it's been Flipside on Independent Television, and I want to say a big thank you to you out there for being a part of the show. My name is Harry Aigboje, and until I come your way again, same time, same station next week, do the right thing, stay out of trouble, and bye for now.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
ITV. Certainly the best.
Top on the list of the initiates was the eldest son of the Esama of Benin and former governor of Edo State, Chief Lucky Nosakare Igbenedion. 11 of his siblings, namely Bright Ayamekwe Igbenedion, Honorable Charles Osemwige Igbenedion, Peter Osawari Igbenedion, Dr. Fred Osanwi Igbenedion, Barrister Mike Osarene Igbenedion, Efosa Douglas Igbenedion, Upoma Enes Igbenedion, Osawe Igbenedion, Edosa Igbenedion, Dr. Daniel Omorige Igbenedion, Agbon Steve Igbenedion, as well as the Executive Director Operations, ITV and Radio, Chief Elder Ugbeide Nwonse. It was a vital aspect of Okada community's cultural heritage, which emphasized the significance of age, responsibility, and community service. Over 50 notable sons of Okada were also initiated. According to tradition and customs, those initiated, dressed in white traditional attire, were made to undergo some rituals, while the Odionwe pronounces blessings on them and assisted them to take a seat with the elders.
ITV, certainly the best.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
Thank you for joining us today on yet another edition of the program, Woman to Woman. I'm Adesu Walsawage, and today on Woman to Woman, we want to be looking at dating, modern dating. Are there red flags? If there are, what are the red flags? What about the green flags? Are there flags that should be ignored, whether green or red or white or whatever color of flag? This and many more we're going to be looking at today on the program, Woman to Woman. I'm going to be joined by two beautiful women today, and luckily for us, they are both counselors, PR practitioners, and they are doing well in their field. So with me in the studio is Sharon Ekele. She is a counselor from the University of Benin, and she's going to be talking to us today. And Dorcas Onoge, who is also a teen counselor and PR practitioner, will be joining us in the course of the program. So we're going to hit it off straight with Sharon. Hello, Sharon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for finding time to join us on the program. So we still have a part 2 of what we did last week, because some guys are like, how can you be shaving our head in our presence? You cannot shave our head. We're not shaving your head, okay? We're just managing to shave small of the hair, right? So we will do something about that to make sure that everybody is happy, because Woman to Woman is all encompassing. Here we talk about the women, children, husbands, boyfriends, fian A, fian B, and fiancés, and all of that. It is all encompassing. So we talk about everybody. So Sharon, how are you doing this afternoon?
Fine, thank you. Good
Okay,
afternoon.
let me fill your pause on dating. How will I say it now? What do you think? What's your take on dating?
If you say my take on dating,
what's your take on dating?
As in the way we see it now, or just...
No, just what's your take on dating? When you tell me your take on dating, I will not ask you.
Okay, anyway, to me, I believe the way I see dating is a time to really study each other, then know if our values, beliefs, and our mental states align with each other.
Okay.
So my direction may be this way.
Maybe that way.
So if both of us are not like, okay, let me give you an example. Okay, maybe I will say, okay, I want 4 children. And the person is like, no, it's just 1 child I want. So why will you do 4 when I want I said I want, or I don't even want to even give birth at all. Oh, a woman, my mother is a strong woman. Everybody, she gave birth herself at home. So know that, my mindset is when anytime I give this, I'll register for antenatal, and I'll go to the hospital, and now I'm hearing. So those are the things I see dating to be to me, as in the period to really know those our values, belief, mental states, and how the behavior of each other, if it aligns and if we are going together.
Okay, so let's look at dating today compared to dating of like say 10, 12, 15 years ago.
Yeah. So you know what, dating today, we'll say there's a slight difference between then, maybe 10, 15 years ago, like you just said. Why do I say slight different? Because of the trend of the social media.
Okay.
Because like what I tell people, most things we are seeing now, most things that are happening now, they've always been there. So, but the difference is there was no social
media.
Yes,
so social media have done a lot.
Yes, social media have done a lot. Okay. So now people can date through social
media.
Social media.
All right, so people, let's take a very short break here, and when we come back, Dorcas Onoge will be joining us. Stay tuned.
ITV, certainly the best.
Dating. Let me feel your pause on if there's a difference between dating and courting. I will tell you why I'm asking this question. Is there a difference between dating and courting?
Oh, well, I don't think there's similarity between the two.
Okay.
And because it's not all courting that leads to marriage.
Okay.
It's not all dating that leads to marriage.
Okay.
So until, I would say until one is settled down in marriage, you cannot say, oh, I'm dating or I'm courting. You cannot really say, because we've seen a lot of things these days.
Okay.
That's coming out boldly to say, I'm dating, I'm courting, I'm this, I'm that. It's very, very difficult these days.
Okay. You know why I asked this question? I was trying to counsel a young man not too long ago, and he had a problem with the girl he's been dating for 5 years. He just turned the girl to Lord of the Rings for 5 years. And then I asked the guy that, why don't you want to marry her again? She has spent time, she has spent energy, she has invested so much, invested her emotions and everything. And the guy said, well, why they came to me is that they're going to give me the list of things they bought together, or they want to share the things. How do you share mattress? How do you share table? Because I do not understand. You know, they bought practically everything together in the apartment, and the guy is like, I know do. And you cannot force a man who says, I know do. You can't force anybody again. So my question was, I said, no, we were not courting, we were only dating. And that threw me off balance. You were not courting. What do you mean? He said, courting is when you are courting a girl to marry the girl. And dating is a probability. You may not. And I've been searching my dictionary since. Courting, dating.
Not the same thing.
No, I need to call this guy with the dictionary went for say courting and dating. I want to know. He said courting. He was very serious. Courting is when you are with a woman and you want to marry her. This one is dating. I was like, okay, you're dating a woman and you're buying things together. You're having your names on a receipt together. I mean, under common law, now marriage, and I don't do so now. And the guy said, no, they were dating, they were not courting. All right, so girls, when a guy tells you he's courting or dating, you better know what you're into today. Now, the question I asked her before she came was that, can you describe dating today or courting today versus that of like 10 or 15 years ago? Is it one and same?
Okay. I think the difference between now and then is that then they were intentional. When a guy, most of the guys that comes to meet a lady that, look, I like you, I'm interested in you, they were intentional about their decision. But these days, some just want to do it for the sake of it. At least you are old enough, and we should be, you know, just have fun, just do things. Sometimes you even tell some girls, this guy is, no, I cannot marry this person. You are with the person.
You are with the person.
Guy, bro, this is our wife. We don't look at you. To me, marry this one. You are with the person. So it's like they've not turned into a norms these days that as a guy, you cannot stay without having one baby. As a young lady, you cannot stay without having a guy. Even you don't, too often know that your relationship or whatever thing people are doing is not taking you anywhere. That's the difference these days. Large difference. And most times, some young lady sees it as an opportunity to put their responsibilities, everything about them, their needs, their wants, school fees, and all that
to gather things.
On somebody. That is actually the reason they are going out to date somebody. Then when they are satisfied with what they want to get, they've achieved their goals, they will pull out and go for the guy that wants
that they want.
Marry them.
This is crazy. I once heard that girls have men for different purposes. They have, even on their phones, they will store it, Minister of Enjoyment, taxi driver, school fees, makeup, spa. They have, that is, you want to go for a spa, you know the particular man to call. You want to go on a ride, you know the particular guy to call. You just want to go have fun somewhere, you know the particular guy to call. Are these girls normal? Let me ask you, Councillor Kelly, are these girls normal? A girl can keep 5, 10 men for different purposes, and they are all darling, 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 darling.
Mentally, and as a professional, actually the person is not normal. The person is not mentally stable.
Okay.
And so the person may be going through some depressive symptoms.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
These guys are usually very bubbly.
Yeah, there are persons that, like I do tell people, depression is not written on the faces of some persons. So we have what we call the smiling depression.
Okay.
So sometimes they use these things to cover a void. There is an emptiness. So that's why you find out some persons have multiple relationships. So they feel these things makes me happy doing it, but deep down, some of them can't even pinpoint why do I do what I am doing.
So normal girls don't do what these girls are doing.
A girl that is mentally fit, disciplined, and know what she wants for herself, they'll tell you, I do one man at a time. So once it's over, then I move to the next person.
Okay, there's this song that says love is wicked. Okay, so let me ask you this question, Dorcas. When it comes to love, let me ask you a personal question now. Okay. When it comes to love, have you been love bombed? Because somebody told me the other day that she was defrauded sexually. So this time around, have you ever been love bombed? Did somebody bomb you with love before? Burn your cable, break your heart, scatter it, pieces it, you know? Have you ever been love bombed before?
Well, I would say as somebody who has been very careful.
Okay.
When you are very careful, just like what she said, when you are normal, you are disciplined. There are things you will see and you know that this one is not real.
Okay.
Me personally, if a guy is coming close to me, if you not got to really know me very well and you are showering me with money, gifts, I will tell you to stop.
I love you now.
No, I'll tell you to stop. I'm not comfortable with it. I'll just tell you. I'll just end it there.
In today's Nigeria, with the economy and all of that,
no matter what you think is happening today, we still have decent people out there.
Okay.
That care about themselves, their reputation, and their integrity.
Okay.
And they will not rub it on the floor because of one person.
Okay.
So for that, when they find themselves in the circle of people, they know that this person is not truthful.
Yes.
They will know how to manage it. And again, let me quickly add this. I think mothers should really try as much as possible to define what relationship is to their daughters.
Okay.
Because if they do, because these days I've seen a lot of girls that have been destroyed because of hair, ordinary hair, that when you buy today, by 1 year, 2 years time, new one has already come out.
Even within 3 months.
And you just destroy yourself because of something that is not tangible, something that is not going to take long. Rather, why not preserve yourself? Preserve yourself, your integrity, your dignity as a woman.
Okay, Sharon, while Dorcas was talking, she said mothers should talk to their daughters on how to operate when it comes to love, the modus operandi, so to speak, in love department. Okay, what about a mother who has also been destroyed in the name of love? A mother who is suffering in the name of love. A mother who is bearing so much, who is condoling, who is stomaching, who is, covering everything. not wanting it to come out in the open because of stigmatization or whatever, how can such a mother be able to call the daughter to say, my girl, this is not the way to go? You think that mother will be mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically ready or able or fit, that is the proper word, fit to discuss that kind of a thing with her daughter?
Yeah, such a mother will not be able to give what she don't have. Why? Because deep down she's bleeding emotionally. The only thing she can give to the daughter is to even damage her more by making her feel that the opposite sex is the worst thing that will happen to you in your life. So make her understand that, like at least at least women of my age now, they are meeting up with the Gen Zs. They'll tell you, men has come, men are hard,
but they are still following the men.
Don't trust Adam. They will destroy you, they will whatever.
But then they chop Adam money, then they collect Adam money. Why is Adam destructive?
Yeah. So that once they build that in the child, so you find out that the child then builds a wall.
Okay.
When you see some girls are so aggressive towards the opposite sex, you'll be wondering, why is this person behaving? Yeah, acting this way, even though I've been so intentional. I've shown that, yes, I'm so serious. I know what I want for myself as a man. But those words still guides. So the mother, like you say, is trying to protect something. Either maybe she had her out of wedlock, she was so in love, then the man abandoned her and all that. So that fear of, I don't want to make same mistake with my daughter. So but they now do it the wrong way. But fortunately, some of them even want, like, okay, I want to, some of them become so curious and like, let me know why my mom is so, and they end up making mistakes.
Okay, Dorcas, we have a lot of dating apps now. Or like those days, I can remember long ago, a boy is chasing, he's either writing you a letter or he's buying you a love card and writing many things in the garden of love, in the name of this one, in the basket of waiting. You know, you don't see the babe before now, but they will always write that thing. You see, if you're ditto in the garden of love. I picked my berry from the basket of love, filled with rose flowers. It used to be fun, you know. I enjoyed reading those letters, and then they would now have those letter pads that have roses and all of that, and the guy would now used to write to you. You know, either that or they buy you love cards and all of that. But or they will send somebody to send somebody to take. It used to be fun, you know. But today there are so many dating apps. Somebody can mistakenly dial your number, hearing the voice of hearing one beautiful voice. For in my relationship don't start. I started toasting you. I mistakenly called your number. I like you. You know, you're all of that. But today we have love via telephone or social media handle. And then we have so many dating apps. People are meeting on dating apps. People are defrauding each other on dating apps. As man they defraud, as a woman they defraud on dating apps. So let's x-ray the role of dating apps in modern day dating.
That one is complex.
Break it down for us. You're a counselor. You're a PR practitioner. Oh yeah.
Okay. Dating apps has actually helped people.
It has.
To connect with their partners.
Okay.
They say it's 12, there must be Judas. But I'm sure that one, in that dating apps, we have one that is good inside, 12 Judas, 11 Judas there. Why did I say so? Because you see married women who are married, maybe because they have fine stature, they'll put their picture there to defraud people. Likewise, the men also, just to have their way with a girl or any boy also. So, as it has helped people, that's why it has also destroyed people. me, I don't advise people to go to dating app at all, because I see it as a circle. Yes, there are good people there, but there are few, very, very few.
Okay.
Very, very few. Majority of people there are not there to defraud people.
Okay.
They would like to play with your emotions. You will be thinking, oh, I have seen the one that I found my missing rape, I've done that, only for you to discover that the person is just lying to you, wasting your time, you know, your energy. So dating apps has been helpful. I've seen a lot of testimony on Facebook. We met on Facebook, she commented and I commented, and so the rest is stories. Today we are happily married. I've also seen people too that have lost through Facebook. Some have even lost their lives through this social media handle, dating thing, or dating of a thing. Okay. So as it is good, that's how it is bad, but I think the bad side is more.
Okay. So Sharon, how can we tell the difference, or how can we recognize red flag? We have just 2 minutes to do this. How do we recognize red flags? How do we know who is telling the truth or who is not telling the truth?
Yeah, I think the person wants to always be in control. He wants to always monitor you. Don't respect your space, your boundaries. Always talk you down.
So that's a red flag.
Yes, always belittle you. So since you ask somebody that is serious. So somebody that is genuinely serious, the person is part of your world. The communication is always flowing. There is this bead that by John Gotthardt, which shows as in the little things matters to the person. Okay. So things you think you can, it's not until the thing is so heavy. Oh, hello baby, that movie, and they say, just hug you, peg, and all that. It shows that this person means well for you and your well-being. Your well-being, your spiritual well-being is so important to the person. The person pushes you from this level to the next level. Not you people just be there. The only thing you are thinking of, talking of, is just sex. But the person is so intentional. I want to bring out.
But there are men who do all of this before marriage. They give you everything. They love you. They just make you. They make you feel good. You know, you're floating, you're flying. Everything is happening to you at the same time. And after marriage, you will now see the other side of moonlight. Oh yeah, Counselor, comment before we leave.
Well, I would say there is no way to actually say this is a red flag, because I've come to observe that we all have our individual differences. And there are things I will tolerate that you will not tolerate. Okay. There are things I would like in somebody that you will not like. Okay. Of which that may be the reason why you don't want to be with that person. Okay. I, as a person, that may be the reason why I want to be with the person.
Okay. So flags are not the same. It might be red on your side. What you see as red flag will be white on Dorcas' side, and it may be green where Sharon is concerned, and it may be just be black where I am concerned. The only thing is, from what these two beautiful women have said this afternoon, is for you to open your eyes like this, to know who is nice and who is acting nice, to know who is good and who is acting good. Okay, so recognize the flags yourself and put yourself in a very good and comfortable position when it comes to dating. We're not done. We will come again with this topic in a very short time. Okay, so stay with us and always tune to this channel. So ladies, thank you so much for finding time to be with us. Sharon, thank you. I know you have a lot to talk about, but time is not our friend. We'll see you again next week. Bye bye.
Thank you.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best. best.
This is Anegbete community situated in Isako Central Local Government Area of Edo State. It is an agrarian community with united people that promotes unity and oneness for peaceful coexistence. The inhabitants of the community migrated from Benin, the cradle of black civilization, a kingdom where king is truly king. The ancestors of Anegbete saw that age was the main determinant of leadership in the rural setting, and the eldest man in the settlement was regarded as the leader who presided over meetings, and his authority is held in high esteem. To further strengthen this unique system of leadership, age group evolved in Anegbete. In Anegbete, age group is categorized into two, that is the common and the noble. Anegbete is rich in cultural heritage, as the community at noon saw the commitment of the festival with the first set rolled out in beauty colors to showcase their might and strength, indicating their feet and ready for the responsibilities behold on them. The streets in the community with a feed up of young men and women adorned with the festival. Later, the royal family takes the stage as their children fight out royally and work in the community to showcase their might and fitness.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
Hello everyone, welcome. This is Business 360 right here on ITV. Always a pleasure to have you join us on the show. I am Anuluwakbo Stevens, here to take you through a couple of business roundup stories for this week. Now let's run through the headlines. Debt pressure mounts as federal government borrows 8.1 trillion naira in 2026 already. Cash outside banks moderate to 5.2 trillion naira in February as liquidity pressure eases. Nigeria's mining sector records 686.96 billion naira VAT contribution in 2025. Now let's get into the details. We kickstart with the news coming in as regards the debt situation currently bedeviling the country economically. As it says, debt pressure mounts as federal government borrows 8.1 trillion naira in 2026 already. Now, mind you, this is just the kickstart of the second quarter of the year. So, at the backdrop of rising public debt pressure and concerns over the impact on the economy, the federal government increased its domestic borrowing by 8.1 trillion naira in the first quarter of 2026, showing a 7.4% rise from 7.5 trillion naira in the same period of 2025. So this upward trend, according to analysts, shows revenue gaps and spending indiscipline, urging the government to double down on revenue collection, cut waste, and curb corruption. Meanwhile, the World Bank has warned that the rising amount of money the federal government is spending to service debt is reducing its ability to fund critical infrastructure, citing the sharp decline in capital spending to 1.0% of GDP from 1.3% of GDP in 2025. Now let's talk about the domestic borrowing in the first quarter of this year, 2026. So data obtained by Financial Vanguard from the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Debt Management Service, that's the DMO, shows that the 7.4% year-on-year increase in federal government's domestic borrowing in the first quarter of this year was driven by a 63% and 24% year-on-year increase in borrowing through the federal government bonds and federal government savings bonds, respectively, which offset 12% decline in borrowing through treasury bills. So the federal government borrowed 4.86 trillion naira through treasury bills in the first quarter of this year, representing a 12% year-on-year decline from 5.54 trillion naira in the first quarter of the year 2025. However, borrowing from the monthly federal government bond auction rose by a 63% year-on-year to 3.1 trillion naira in the first quarter of the year 2026 from 1.9 trillion naira in the first quarter of the year 2025. So similarly, borrowing through the federal government savings bond rose by 24% year on year to 16 billion naira in the first quarter of 2026 from 13 billion naira in the first quarter of 2025. Now, under the Appropriation Act 2026, the federal government plans to borrow 29.2 trillion naira to fund the gap between the revenue of 68.32 trillion naira and expenditure of 36.87 trillion naira. Now, this indicates a quarterly borrowing target of 7.3 trillion, including external debt. However, given the 8.1 trillion naira borrowed from domestic investors in the first quarter of 2026 and the $6 billion new external loans approved by the National Assembly a couple of weeks ago, the federal government might again exceed its annual borrowing targets in 2026, that's this year. Now, the above trend also indicates further increases in Nigeria's debt stock, which, according to the Debt Management Office, stood at 153.29 trillion naira at the end of the third quarter of 2025, representing a 5.9% year-on-year increase from 144.67 trillion naira at the end of 2024. So given this development and expected increase in total debt, the federal government will spend more on debt services in coming years and likely worsening of the debt service to revenue ratio, a key debt sustainability indicator. The debt service undermining infrastructure spending. Consequently, the World Bank has said the nation's massive debt service burden was systematically crippling the nation's ability to fund critical infrastructure, effectively reducing capital investment to a primary adjustment margin in the federal budget. Now, in its latest Nigeria Development Update for April 2026, released last week, the World Bank disclosed that while the debt to GDP ratio appears moderate, the cost of servicing that debt is suffocating. Although Nigeria's debt to GDP ratio remains low by international standards, the main source of vulnerability is the high debt service to revenue ratio, which is estimated to have stood at 49.5% in 2025. So more borrowing likely. Looking ahead, analysts expressed concerns that borrowing trend may persist in near term. In fact, Adori warned that fiscal indiscipline could sustain elevated borrowing levels. There is already evidence of budget indiscipline. Now, this trend is likely to continue, and the government may be entering a debt trap where new borrowing is required to service existing obligations, according to this analyst, Adori, and this is alarming. And it's also interesting to note how a lot of Nigerians are not even looking towards this direction. Oftentimes, when we raise concerns over how the federal government over the borrowing habits of the federal government, we hear persons say, oh, borrowing is not a sin, according to Bayo Onanuga. But then again, it's what you get to do with the monies that have been borrowed. A case where we don't even see the works and the showings, right? If I'm to put it that way, of what is being borrowed is sad. If you go to the roads, interestingly, federal roads, as it's being tagged, it is nothing to write home about in the South. And we are also seeing that it's going to become a trend. But where it's even more worrisome is how it's going to be paid. And we also hear that in coming years, federal government would have to borrow to foot existing obligations. And we do not want that, honestly. But away from that, let's move over and talk about something else that is also pretty much important as regards cash. As we hear that cash outside banks moderates to 5.2 trillion naira in February as liquidity pressure eases. Now, what does this mean? So Nigeria's cash liquidity cycle showed signs of normalization in February 2026. as currency held outside the banking system moderated by 0.058% to 5.2 trillion naira, indicating decreasing demand for physical cash after the year-end spending surge. This is according to the latest money and credit statistics data published by the Central Bank of Nigeria, which also shows money supply declining significantly to 123.14 trillion naira in February, down from 123.35 trillion naira in January. The figures also showed that total currency in circulation remained broadly stable at 5.7 trillion naira, pointing to steady system-wide liquidity conditions even as excess cash returned to banks. So let's look at the highlights and see what really this data is saying. Now, according to CBN's money and credit statistics, the moderation in cash outside banks follows a month of elevated withdrawals driven by festive activities, while currency in circulation was largely unchanged at 5.73 trillion naira in February compared to 5.732 trillion naira in January. The drop in out-of-bank cash suggests a gradual return of liquidity into the formal financial system. So currency outside banks declined by 0.058% month on month to 5.2 trillion naira in February 2026. The metric had previously peaked at 5.41 trillion naira in December 2025 amid heightened festive spending. The reduction reflects households and businesses redepositing excess cash after the holiday season. The trend highlights a typical seasonal pattern of increased cash demand at year-end, followed by moderation. So this pattern underscores how cash usage in Nigeria tends to spike during festive periods before easing as economic activities stabilize in the new year. Some more insights on this. Now, if you take a closer look at historical data, it reveals a steady build-up in cash holdings during the final quarter of 2025. So currency outside banks rose from 4.65 trillion naira in October to 4.91 trillion naira in November before climbing sharply to 5.41 trillion naira in December due to increased retail spending and withdrawals. In the second half of 2025, cash outside banks declined from 4.6 trillion naira in May to 4.42 trillion naira in July. It later edged up slightly to 4.46 trillion naira in August, reflecting gradual rise in cash demand. The first quarter of 2025 recorded relatively stable levels, fluctuating between 4.51 trillion naira and 4.74 trillion naira. So despite the February 2026 decline, cash remains widely used, especially in Nigeria's informal sector. The data reinforces the entrenched role of physical cash in the economy, even as digital payment channels continue to expand. Now, more on what you should know regarding this. So, recent trend shows that the moderation in cash outside banks is part of a broader post-festive liquidity adjustment cycle within Nigeria's financial system. Now, January 2026 had already recorded a similar easing from 5.4 trillion naira in December to 5.21 trillion naira in January, setting the stage for February's continued decline. So February's 0.058% drop to 5.20 trillion naira builds on January's earlier moderation in out-of-bank cash levels. The trend reflects easing liquidity pressure after year-end spending spikes. It aligns with broader monetary patterns where excess liquidity gradually flows back into banks. Now, improved liquidity recycling support financial intermediation and monetary policy effectiveness. So what does this mean? It means that the continued normalization suggests that while cash remains dominant in many segments, Nigeria's liquidity cycle is stabilizing, with excess funds sturdily returning into the banking system after seasonal surges, and which is actually good. It's good to see. I mean, it's normal that during the festive period towards the end of the year, where there's a lot of spending, a lot of shopping, a lot of holidaying, with persons wanting to travel, and also the fear of having scarcity in cash at that period, which I don't think really happens, but it's just the fact that you have to buy more and spend more during that period. In fact, some persons will have saved from January up until November, and then you pack all of the monies from wherever you saved it, and December, it's time for you to enjoy and show off, as the case may be. Well, it's beautiful to see, and I know that things would eventually return back to normal, and then the festive period will come again, and it's going to be like that. So it's more or less like a pattern and a cycle from what this data has shown. Well, if you're just joining, welcome. You're on to Business 360 right here on ITV. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll move over to the final laps of the conversation. Please join us again. Welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking with us as we move over to talk about the mining sector in Nigeria, as we see a bit of interesting news that says it records a 686.96 billion naira VAT contribution in 2025. So Nigeria's mining and quarry sector remitted a total of 686.96 billion naira in value-added tax in the year 2025. This is according to data released by the National Bureau of Statistics. The figure represents a notable increase from the 556.19 billion naira recorded in 2024, reflecting improved tax compliance and revenue mobilization within the sector. The latest data highlights growing fiscal contributions from a sector that has historically underperformed in Nigeria's economy. Despite the improvement, the sector continues to face structural challenges that limit its overall economic impact. Now, what does this data say? So the NBS data shows that VAT contributions from the mining sector remained relatively stable throughout 2025, right? The sector generated 187.59 billion naira in the first quarter, representing the highest quarterly contribution. Now, VAT collections declined to 164.7 billion naira in the second quarter. Contributions stood at 166.77 billion naira in the third quarter. The sector recorded 167.9 billion naira in the fourth quarter, indicating consistent performance in the better later half of the year. Okay, so the steadily quarterly trend demonstrates stable revenue inflows despite broader economic pressures. Now, what really does this mean as we get up to speed? So Nigeria's mining sector has a long struggle to realize its full potential despite abundant mineral resources. The sector contributes less than 5% to Nigeria's gross domestic product, that's the GDP. Illegal mining activities have significantly reduced government revenue. Another thing worthy of note is the weak incentives, poor infrastructure, and policy gaps that have continued to discourage large-scale investment in the sector. So these challenges have limited the sector's contributions to both economic growth and the government revenue. Recent fiscal reforms have played a key role in improving revenue collection in the mining sector. For instance, in June 2025, President Bola Tinubu signed 4 major tax reform laws to modernize Nigeria's tax system. So the reforms include the Nigeria Tax Bill, the Nigeria Tax Administration Bill, Nigeria Revenue Service Bill, and Joint Revenue Board Bill. A key policy shift transferred the collection of mineral royalties to Nigeria Revenue Service to improve accountability. The federal government also generated 6.96 billion naira in mining fees in the first quarter of the year 2025, indicating improved compliance. Now, these measures are aimed at reducing leakages and strengthening revenue administration across the sector. More insights on this. Now, it was reported that Nigeria's mining and quarry sector contributed a total of 723.33 billion naira in company income tax in 2025. The figure represents a significant increase from the 520.34 billion naira recorded in 2024. And it was also reported that Nigeria's VAT collection stood at 2.19 trillion naira in the fourth quarter of 2025, representing a 3.78% decline from the 2.28 trillion naira recorded in the third quarter. So despite the quarter-on-quarter dip, the figure reflects a 12.84% year-on-year increase. And it was also earlier reported that Nigeria's value-added tax collections increased to 2.28 trillion naira in the third quarter of the year 2025. So according to report, the 2.28 trillion naira recorded in the third quarter represents a 10.66% quarter-on-quarter increases from the 2.6 trillion naira posted in the second quarter of 2025. And in terms of sectoral contributions, manufacturing maintained its position as the largest contributor to VAT revenue in the third quarter of 2025. So if we look at how the mining sector did perform last year, we've been able to build up or to generate a 686.96 billion naira VAT contribution in 2025. I honestly believe that if the federal government can look into this more and have other interesting policies and reforms that would help shape and build up that sector, it's going to yield interesting positive results at the end of the day. And perhaps, God willing, the next year we're also talking about more monies coming in from the sector. But what we have now is a situation where the federal government is, and everyone is just putting one eye and all eyes on petrol and crude, and that's all. But interestingly, Nigeria is a country that is blessed with so many mineral resources, from agriculture down to the mining. We could go on and on with the different resources that we're blessed with here in Nigeria. It's left for the government to, perhaps invite bodies who are actually sound in these sectors and see how we can weigh our options and move away from petrol. Well, don't forget, we also have entertainment. The other time we're talking about how the Nigeria box office has performed in recent years with the monies generated from there. So there's a whole lot of things to actually, benefit and actually spend all of your monies on in Nigeria. So it's left for the government of the day to do the needful moving forward. Anyway, we get to wrap up Business 360 and just know thank you so much for being part of the show. We'll do this again on the next episode with me and Nuluwa Stevens. Do have yourself a great day ahead.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
Ọba àtọ́kùnrin.